What is going on, people? Welcome to Throw Down Your Questions, episode 2. Shit. What's going on, people? Welcome to Throw Down Your Questions, episode 303. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez. Do it again.
I said, sup, people. How's it going?
Adam Vale.
Yo, Sucker Free Sunday.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, I'm confused. What up, people?
And Brian Manjoma.
Hey Tony, I'm really surprised that you never played Fortnite and you don't like that game.
I did play Fortnite. I streamed it. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to play it for weeks.
It's obviously a joke, but I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Yo, by the way, technical difficulty made when I had because I had you accidentally muted, but then you muted yourself. So that was pretty funny. But obviously, I know you thought that. Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys listening MP3 later, you guys are fine. I'm editing all that shit out. You know. But this is the things that happen when we were live, people. Anyway, Brian, I missed your joke. I don't understand.
It was based on one of your tweets about Travis Scott.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know who the fuck he was until the other day when he had the PlayStation controller. But then come to find out he was the same rapper that was in Fortnite. Here's the thing you got to understand about me. It's not really like, oh, Tony, you're an old man. You don't understand. I've been this way about modern pop music. Manny could attest to this since I was in my 20s, early 20s. I'm like, I'm not listening to this garbage.
I don't know who Travis Scott is. Yeah, I heard about that thing too with the controller and all that. But
here's the thing about Travis Scott. A lot of people don't know. He's a Sony artist, right? So there you go. Make of that what you will. But a Sony artist who gets a PlayStation controller. And by the way, I think that's what all he got. I don't think he got a console. I think he just got a controller.
Yeah, I think they just said, hey, yeah. He was like, I bet they're like, yeah. He's like, hey, you want anything? Yeah, I want a Sony controller.
Well, sure. Not only that, it's like, what is he playing then? Just that one game that's
he's not playing nothing. He doesn't even have a console, bro.
But I'm saying if he did have a console, what would he be playing?
Fortnite.
Fortnite is at the launch? I don't know if that was launch.
It is launch. You could play it out. You could play it at launch.
Well, he's playing PS4 version. He's not playing any.
Yeah, you can play it at launch.
Everyone knows that the only playable PS5 game currently is that Astrobot game.
He
ain't playing that shit.
He ain't playing that. By the way, this is just a Tony conspiracy theory, and we'll get into your questions. We have a lot of questions tonight, so we're gonna try to keep it brief here. Okay, Tony conspiracy theory, right? This is what I think happened, right? I think Travis Scott was like, "Yo, Sony, I want that console." They're like, we're not giving you no console, but we'll pay you to advertise the controller. There you go, Tony conspiracy theory.
No, you're not way off by any chance.
Well, no, my theories are always based on some kind of fact,
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
You don't know. You probably haven't found out about this, but he has this. He does deals with Nike. He has deals with McDonald's. He has his own freaking menu item in McDonald's.
Yeah, forget about it. So I am right then, or close, Mm-hmm. Yo, Carlos, son Reebok or son Nike.
Exactly.
Oh man!
All right. If you heard, you're like with Sony, well, at least with Microsoft, because they send emails out. It's like, hey, we want to review the console and this and that. They actually want you to send it back. It's
really
having a shortage. Yeah, they.
I've never heard that. Usually they let you keep the shit.
Exactly, but that's not the case this go around. So it's like, shit, well, that's kind of weird. It's like, yeah, you get it for 2 weeks and then you got to send it back. And, so I guess there really is a shortage. I just wonder if that's the case, if PlayStation are giving them out, is it just to Travis Scott, which I doubt. You would think it would be other people, right? Other celebrities that would get it. But I don't know if they're doing that, if they're following the same steps that Microsoft is doing right now with these consoles.
Yeah, I don't know, man. By the way, John Christ, he says no Brett tonight. Brett, we call him Brett of the Wild for a reason. He'll probably show up eventually. That's just the way he rolls, We have no controllers, man. He's wild. Bread of the Wild. All right, before we start, we have a contest, people, as you already know. We're talking about next-gen consoles. So, yes, if you go over to our Twitter right now, which is at Throwdown Show, you're going to see our pinned tweet, and we have a question for you. You answer that question, right? In the replies, we're going to gather your names together, and on October 22nd, we're going to announce a winner. You have your choice. Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, because literally those are consoles I have. You know, if you want the S, you're out of luck. You know,
Well, I mean, if you want to wait, maybe.
if you want to wait, you know, actually, just be real, they probably have to wait anyway. You know, they probably have to wait anyway, bro. Yeah, but that's the thing. Just because you win the contest doesn't mean you get the console on day one. Because I may not get my console on day one either. You know. But you will be guaranteed that. So head over to our Twitter right now, join up, and it's going to be cool. We have a lot of people who signed up for it, so it's going to be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, these guys are talking about Adam. What did you do, man?
What did I do?
Now these dudes are talking about like Impossible burgers and shit, McRibs in the chat.
What are you talking? That's not me.
What?
No,
That's
remember I was talking.
oh,
about
okay.
Scott
Yeah,
had
I just
McDonald's?
blame. I just blamed Adam. Okay,
See?
Carlos, look what you did. I got the wrong Hispanic. You know.
See, there you go. Not me.
Yo,
You
man,
know?
you can't tell Mexicans away from
You
Puerto
call
Rico.
it-
What's wrong with you, man?
I thought you were going to say you can't tell Mexicans apart. Yeah,
That's some Twitch shit right there, man.
yeah. I thought you were going to say like you can't tell Mexican apart. I'm like your cousin's not Mexican. Oh man, he's a region.
We got a cousin of ours who moved to Reno.
Pablo?
And he said everyone calls him fucking Mexican. He's like, "Yep, I'm not Mexican." It was like, "I'm Puerto Rican." I was like, "We've never seen any of those. We just know Mexicans."
That's the shit I always
Mexican
tell
now.
people. Listen, Hispanics are regional, right? And I said this on the show before, but just quick breakdown, right? If you're a Hispanic that lives in the Northeast, you're Puerto Rican. Automatically, you're Puerto Rican, right? If you live in Florida, you're automatically Cuban. If you live in California, you're automatically Mexican. It doesn't matter what your nationality is. You're just automatically that, because the people who live there, the white people, they're like, well, I never heard of that, you know? John Christ says, I'm Filipino. I'm basically a Mexican. Yeah, you are. You are the Mexican of the Asian area. Basically, what happened is I see Filipinos as brothers. Like, basically, you had the Spanish going to your country, fucking your natives, and then creating an all new beautiful race. You know,
Manny, remember Running Water?
Mm-hmm.
The Filipino. He was Filipino. Well, he still is. I mean, not past.
He was Filipino. He changed.
Yeah, but remember he had long hair. I mean, there's pictures. So we called him Running Water. That was his Native American name because he looked Native American.
Running water.
Yeah,
Running
so
Water.
that was it because his hair was so long, so it looked like flow. And I was like, oh, Running Water over here, and that was it till this day.
that's crazy, man. All right, let's get into these questions, bro. All right, so first up, we have Upper Room AK, which is a new name. So welcome, sir. Or madam. We don't know. We don't discriminate around Throwdown. We got female fans too, you know. All right. So first question is, do you see Microsoft releasing a definitive statement on Bethesda exclusivity before the consoles launch in order to sway anyone still on the fence between the consoles? No. The reason they said, case by case, is just because they didn't want to tell you no. That's why they did that shit.
Yeah, it's the thing. The one thing you got to understand about marketing is the minute you start saying no to people before any things are sitting out there, that's going to cause bad press. So they're going to keep rolling with this. If they are going to lock everything down, they're going to keep rolling with it until the time comes.
Yeah. It's the same reason why Sony never knocked that whole backwards compatibility shit.
Exactly.
They're not going to say it. They're not going to say it right off the bat. Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. They're like, no,
yeah.
that.
And even after all of that talk, even after all about that backward compatibility talk, all of that came later. They didn't even say it on their little feature. Like, it was a later article that said no, it will not be able to play any other games from any other generations except for PlayStation 4.
Yeah. You notice how all the bad news was not said at that little show of theirs. It was afterwards. Mr. Jeff Keighley and all those other people.
Yeah, exactly. So they're gonna wait on any of that information.
Yeah, case by case. The only thing that they did announce that's confirmed is that all these Bethesda games will definitely be coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, that we know for a fact. But they will not make any definitive statement. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to do it.
No.
All right, that was an easy question. It's funny because that's our main fucking question for the night. But that's all. That's
Thanks,
it.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Peace. All right. What's up, Carlos?
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if this is going to be asked later, but this has been debated on Twitter. I've seen a lot of people go at it, and it's like this is as 50-50 as I've seen that from an anecdotal sense. Like, people saying, yeah, the Bethesda games are going to be exclusive to Microsoft, or at least to Game Pass and Xbox, or no, everything's going to be multi-platform. I don't
know what it's one of those things where people say either or. They don't see the middle. they for some reason can't grasp that there is a middle ground.
Okay, I'm going to say this right now. Hey, this is good because now we can actually make this, the main thing. All right, and I'm just going to break it down. Right, a lot of guys are not seeing the big picture here. Right, they're still thinking in terms of consoles and console sales. Right. Oh, if they take Bethesda games off of PlayStation, they're going to lose all that money. Yes, they will, right? But Microsoft isn't worried about that. They're trying to worry about the 1 billion people on Android, right? If they could get those motherfuckers on Game Pass, they made their money back. They made their money back instantly. That's who Microsoft is really after. I think they actually said that. It's like their competition is not Sony. Their competition is things like Stadia and GeForce Now, shit like that.
That's all they care about.
That's who they're, and once you understand that, then you could be like, okay, that's why they're not going to have any PlayStation exclusives. They don't need to have any PlayStation games on. They absolutely none. They want to lock those games down. New Bethesda games. They want to lock those down to their ecosystem. And what have they been pushing this entire time? Game Pass, right? Again, what? Okay, for its lifetime, PlayStation 5 will probably sell over 100 million, right? For its lifetime, what's 100 million compared to 1 billion? You got to think about it on those terms. Go ahead, Adam.
The question now, then, the real question, because we got all that stuff is whatever, but we know that there's for a fact 2 exclusives for PlayStation, right? And they said they're not touching those.
Those are coming, yeah. Deathloop and another one, yeah. Those are coming. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. Now, and Elder Scrolls Online will remain on PlayStation as well.
But the question is this going to be permanent exclusive, or did they change it to like a time thing? Like, right,
we don't know. We don't know.
No, we don't know. That's the question that we need answered. Are those ever going to make it to a Sony platform? I mean, a Microsoft platform. That's a real question.
Well, they will make it to. I think they will. To be honest, I think within a year, or however long the deals were. But that's what I think.
It all depends on how long that contract, whatever kind of deal they signed.
Yeah, because here's the thing: even without this deal, those games would have come to Xbox eventually. That's what I think. That's how these things usually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's. I mean,
like, think about it. How long do you think?
Well, let Carlos finish, bro.
You man. So
no,
I think it's gonna be. I mean, I don't think there's any. It's gonna be on Game Pass, and on the Android and hopefully iOS in the future. But I guess the bigger question is just PlayStation. Like, is Fallout 6 or Fallout 5, is that going to be on the PlayStation 3?
I doubt it. Personally, I doubt it. I think that's going to be locked down. By
that point, when that comes, I think they'll look at the numbers.
And again, think about it like this, right? Game Pass subscribers, they went from 10 million to 15 million in the span of 4 or 5 months. You guys correct me in the chat, right? Bro, it's probably gonna go up to 20 million very soon, and 34. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, by the end of the year, probably be 20 million, maybe a little more. By next year, bro, it's just gonna keep going and going. Again, that's Microsoft's game plan here. They're not worried about console sales. They're worried about subscriptions. Man,
especially if they can get on iOS, man. If they can work out that fucking deal, that was upsetting.
Yeah.
They have any redesign of the Xbox app that's coming out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, because they had everything planned. They didn't they didn't think they were going to have an issue like this with Apple, and it can put a wrench into everything.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on, Brett?
What's up? Finally got in here.
Nice.
Had some trouble.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. All right, I want to move on to the next question. It's funny, Tumeke was like, yo, my question should be next. It is next, bro.
Oh.
Wow. All right, so the question is, now that the dust has settled after the Bethesda news, when you look at what was bought overall, all studios and franchises, do you think it was worth $7.5 billion, or do you think it's more quantity over quality? So, yeah, do you guys think... buying that Bethesda was worth, or ZeniMax Bethesda was worth $7.5 billion.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
Yeah. Brands, the names themselves.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was, definitely,
Everybody's talking about Bethesda, but my God, like, you realize the lineage of games that they've had from PC on that, just from buying ZeniMax. They got Doom, Wolfenstein, they got Quake.
Bring back Quake, shit.
Man,
they could. They got all those franchises. That let alone the Bethesda. Not to mention, remember, doesn't Bethesda also own Duke Nukem? Yes, they do. I believe so. Yeah. So there you
They
go.
got Call
So
of
they
favorite,
got all
favorite
those
game that
IP.
They
that's on
literally picked up the '90s classics of PC games
Yeah.
in one foul fucking swoop.
Yeah,
Yep.
they picked up our childhoods.
Well, like I said, it's the IPs that are valuable. They really like it. The people and the assets and all that stuff you get with the deal are incidental. It's the intellectual properties alone for all those titles that Manny mentioned are so valuable. Like that was what the settling price was. They were probably negotiating up and up from whatever Microsoft came, and was willing to pay. Like and Tony pointed out, like, I don't think Sony would outlay that kind of money.
They can't.
Nintendo doesn't have that kind of money.
No, they
Like,
can't. We
put
have
it-
a similar question coming up later. We're going to shut that down. Go ahead, Manny.
Give you an example, how much Microsoft actually paid for ZeniMax is literally more than buying Marvel and the Lucasfilm for Disney.
Yep.
That's how much money.
it is.
It is.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
And the reason, and I'm glad you say
it's
that.
not
Go ahead,
quite,
Chris.
not-
Oh,
not
how
quite.
what are numbers, Chris? You're a numbers man.
the Marvel and Lucasfilm deal would have added up to $8.3 billion.
Oh, okay.
Kinda-
So it's just short of that, but it's comparable, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you think about Lucasfilm, and then you think about all of Marvel, all those IPs, just Marvel by itself, and that was only worth $4 billion to Disney.
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because there's a lot of people, let's just be real here. They're downplaying this, they're like, oh, this wasn't a big deal. I'm like, bro, $7.5 billion, that's not a big deal. Really? Phil Spencer's on these fucking money few shows and shit talking to normie news. Like, bro, come on now. Go ahead, Brett.
I was just gonna say, like, I 100% was agreeing with you. That was all.
All right, yeah, but so it's like, come on, guys, like, you can't doubt. Again, think about it. The same people that probably thought, oh shit, Disney buying Marvel and Star Wars is huge news. They're like, Bethesda, that's nothing. They make shitty games. You guys are missing the point. If that's what you're saying, you're missing the point. It's those franchises. Those franchises bring in a lot of fucking money. It doesn't matter that Fallout 76 was whack. Fallout carries weight. So when Fallout 5 comes, people are going to go nuts. Elder Scrolls 6 comes, people are going to go nuts. I'm telling you. Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna 100%. 100% saying you are correct. I don't understand how people look at the numbers and don't think it's a big deal. Like it's facts. It's numbers. It's in front of you. There are people who, let's be fucking honest, are smarter than you, or it's their fucking job to do this, and they do it all day to figure out these kinds of projections, and that's the number they ended up on. And yeah, $7.4 billion is a huge amount of money. It is a huge acquisition, and it carries with it, as Manny said, like, all of our childhood, man. Like, all of the original IPs, plus the things that are fucking legend. Skyrim is goddamn legendary at this point. And no, I probably missed that question, but no, they're not going to give it to Sony. Like, that would be absolutely stupid. And as you said earlier, they're just beefing up their subscription numbers. They're going to be over 20 million soon. And really think about that. What is the audience? How many how many copies did God of War sell? I'm pretty sure it wasn't 20 million.
I don't. I want to say 13 million, but I could be wrong about that.
So what we're doing here is essentially giving developers a wider audience. And Microsoft is continually making money because we've shown that it's their service that makes the most money. They make the money off of Game Pass.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
They're not there to. They're not really. This is and Tony said this earlier. They're not there to screw over Sony. See what they did is they checked Google, right? So now Google's pool of IPs just shrank considerably for what they could negotiate for Stadia. And if they want to negotiate Elder Scrolls 6 or what was it, Starfield?
Yeah, Starfield.
Whatever.
Yeah, Starfield.
Yeah, whatever's coming, or the next Wolfenstein, or the next Doom. Guess who they got to talk to? They got to talk to Microsoft. And Microsoft would be like, "Open your wallet," and then be like, "No," and they're like, "Well, you don't get it." That's it. Like, it's an amazing checkmate to put Google in Stadia, and that's in that situation.
I mean, Bethesda fans are also. Go ahead.
So just to go over some of the IPs that were acquired: Dishonored, Doom, Fallout, Prey, Quake, Rage, Starfield is not a franchise yet, but
not yet.
It's a IP that's coming out. Elder Scrolls, The Evil Within, Wolfenstein, the whole Deathloop and Ghostwire, I think, are part of the whole Bethesda thing as well. So yeah, it's pretty big, and I like Chris's point where he's talking about how they beat Google, and not only Google, Amazon to the punch.
Yeah.
Because these are huge ass fucking companies with a boatload of money, way more than Sony can ever have, and they're getting into the video game business. And I think what's going to happen is a lot of the AA, or even like Take-Two, some of the other companies, third party companies that make video games, they're all going to be part of the bidding wars. I think that's what Amazon and Google and Microsoft are going to be doing.
So you think one of the big ones are next, like an EA or
Ubisoft? You never know, man. Shit is crazy right now. After this, anything's possible.
And we thought even before all this, remember when they were having that takeover issue? We thought that somebody was going to come financially to help them out and stuff. It didn't happen, but yeah, anything's possible now.
That shit is nuts, man. All right, let us move on. By the way, I front-loaded all the Bethesda questions to the top of the show, so we got a little theme going tonight. All right, next question, also from Mr. Tumeke. All right, this one's a little bit of a fun thing here. Now that Microsoft owns all these IPs, what would be your ultimate crossover with existing Xbox IPs? For example, Sea of Thieves expansion where you sail the seas of hell. That's pretty dope. We also have a similar question from some drunken demon later on.
Can I definitely say New Vegas before anybody else?
No.
Sure, but like New Vegas crossed over with like Halo.
Obsidian.
No, but okay, we're talking about. I think he's talking about franchises.
Like franchise, like IP crossover.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about studios.
Yeah, think about Marvel vs. Capcom type of stuff.
The one that went on for the longest, and this is for years, was Master Chief and Doom. And this dude from Doom.
Yeah, you can put them
visit that planet. Hey, Master Chief visit the planet, and he came across him.
And
you could work together. Yeah.
You could also be silly and be like, okay, we have one of the suits that you get in Fallout. The big mech suit. That's fucking Master Chief's suit. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the power armor.
The power armor is Master Chief's outfit. Fun, funky stuff like that. I mean, to be honest, like if you wanted to even put what if you wanted to do one of those sort of battle royale games, right? And you just take you take literally all the protagonists from every single one of those games and throw them into that.
Microsoft All Stars. Think about it. Microsoft
Shooter All Stars. Yeah, there you go.
Microsoft All Stars now has all the Bethesda IPs. Because remember we joked about this, like if there was ever a potential, like Microsoft, All Stars, it would just be a car, Marcus Phoenix and Master Chief, like that's all they got,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Forza car, by the way, but now they got Pip-Boy and fucking Doom guy, it's crazy right now, man.
Yo, man, they got Pip-Boy and the Xbox Live.
Xbox Live. Yeah.
With I forgot his name. The guy from Wolfenstein.
BJ Blazkowicz.
BJ Blazkowicz. Yeah, that's all Microsoft now, man.
So you have the first-person heavy hitters, right?
Yeah, that's literally it.
You could just throw him in there too.
That's what I want. I want a Microsoft fighting game. That's what I want. I want a Marvel vs. Capcom style fighting game. That's what I want. All of them together. Not fuck with like one or two franchises. All the franchises together. Let's go.
All of them.
All right, man. That was a good question. All right, next up we have Mr. Black Metal Gamer, and his question is: do you fear or think Microsoft will pressure Bethesda into doing what Microsoft wants, or do you think Microsoft will merge many of their original studios with Bethesda to fine-tune sequels and new IPs? For instance, maybe id Software and 343 Industries can fine-tune a future Halo game, or maybe the Coalition and id Software can work together on a new Quake.
I think that's just shared tech. That's it, right? Just shared tech.
But let's answer the first part first. Do you think Microsoft is going to force its will on Bethesda?
I don't see that.
Ruin them.
Yeah, this is what I think is going to happen. Chris, I'll let you go next. You know what I think is going to happen? I think it's going to be potentially an Activision Blizzard situation. First couple of years, let them do their thing, and then as the years go on, they get heavier and heavier and heavier. That's what I think is going to happen. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say that because there's historical precedent for that. I mean, look at the Bungie acquisition and look how that ended up. I mean, they acquired Bungie. They're like, oh, you guys, you do Halo great, but as soon as and they're like, well, why don't we make Halo Wars, and why don't you do this, and why don't we try this, and then Microsoft starts pressuring them in a certain direction, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. That always happens, and they've invested way too much money. $7.5 billion. You don't coast and say, hey, we only acquired you because you're awesome. No, you're gonna be like, hey guys, the investors are talking about this and our stocks. So why don't we push Starfield out and push up Elder Scrolls or whatever? They're gonna make changes, but it's gonna take a couple of years for that force to come in.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys? What do you say?
I mean, that's kind of what happens anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean
there's.
Oh, hold on, Brett. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, studios change, people change, jobs change. It's how we talk about, this old company. Old Nintendo is not the same as new. Well, Nintendo's a bad example, but old blank is not the same as new blank. So I think there's going to be, people are going to phase in and phase out, but that's already happened with Bethesda. That's already happened over the years, and it's kind of more the course that they set. So the biggest thing I see is Microsoft coming in and making it not janky. They're doing a complete overhaul of the underlying systems, which explains a lot when you know that Microsoft just acquired them. So they knew they had the money to rebuild the system. Supposedly, it's the biggest one since Oblivion, that's when it went from Morrowind to Oblivion, which is pretty much the face we all see today. That was also when Fallout 3 came out. So the game we're all familiar with was from back then.
Yeah. Manny, go ahead.
What's the question again? Sorry.
You lost your train of thought. Do you think Microsoft is going to force its will on Bethesda?
I think, it seems like the general consensus in the room seems to be that eventually it will.
Yeah.
And I do think it eventually will. I mean, I wish it was like Sony, like the way Sony handles their departments, where they sort of just let the artists do what they do. And that's why you get crazy games. But, hopefully that this is the biggest concern I have with every single one of the companies that they have under their umbrella at this point in time. Will Microsoft be able to keep their hands out of it? I hope we don't get a situation where we're getting a bunch of games canceled that sound like really cool ideas.
Okay.
I mean, yes, it's like I would say that one of the Chris brought up Bungie, because essentially Bungie became the Halo company. And then there's Rare, who essentially just became the Icon company. The only real release that it had been years since they'd actually released anything of worth, which is sad and it's to the point where they're literally all the original creative people that made all those amazing games that you love from Rare are gone, and they had to literally go and make their own company to be creative again. So that's my one fear with a lot of this, where essentially all of these companies that are under this umbrella just become the factories that make these franchises, as opposed to also letting them explore other ideas.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, because everyone seems to forget this, Sony is the same way. They're just less subtle than most people, because again, everyone forgets that Zipper Interactive was Sony owned, and they ruined it with SOCOM 4. Like, they added in lots of things that the developers did not want because they wanted to chase after that Call of Duty crowd, and hence that game went down the window. Like, Sony killed Zipper, and then they closed down the studio, which was working on 2 IPs at that time. So Sony's not all gold.
I think the last one Zipper did was that
Sunshine and Roses.
Wait, but so do you think that Microsoft's gonna do the same thing?
No, I'm just saying that you can't say that Sony lets the guys do whatever they
They're
want.
infallible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a correction on Brian's part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, everybody does it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it's good for Microsoft to. I mean, obviously they're gonna control them. They're gonna eventually, like, the whole lovey-dovey, Todd Howard and Phil Spencer, like, love affair is gonna just be like business, and Phil Spencer's gonna be like giving them direct orders and be like, hey, this is what we want. I know you guys can do it. So that kind of stuff. But I think in the meantime, I think a company like Bethesda is going to help Microsoft a lot, especially the the younger companies, like the Initiative, 343, the Coalition, they're kind of a whole bunch of studios that were recently just recently came up in the last couple of years that still that still could learn a lot of stuff from someone like Bethesda.
Oh, think about job opportunities now. If it's all under that umbrella, developers can jump to other development groups. I could see a lot of that happening. This could be great for developers that were like, shit, I'm tired of making, I don't know, Gears or whatever that 343 shit. I want to go somewhere else. Oh, wait, I can go work on the new Doom? All right, can I do that? I'm ready to go. It's internal now. So we might see some of that.
But it's also important to mention what Manny mentioned. The biggest acquisition failure in probably history of video games is it is Rare. Rare,
they just had them making fucking avatars and shit. Yeah,
they went from being the company that made the best games and really consistently, and a lot of them, to a company that made avatars and made nuts.
All right. Give them a calm down and give Rare a break. They took a swing and a miss. They tried to do something. It didn't work out. Talking about Sea of Thieves. It was a good concept. It was supposed to be a 10-year concept. They invested a lot of money into that shit to try and help make their platform a service. That was one of the big things they were pushing for Xbox.
Hold on, Brett. Sorry to cut you off, but Sea of Thieves eventually became a success, though.
Well, that's and they're still who's the developer of it?
Yeah, no, it's Rare. But the point is, before that, they had nothing. That's the point Carlos was trying to make. Obviously, Sea of Thieves,
they did go through a dry spell, but eventually Microsoft gave again. They're like, all right, here's a.
I like the way you just like it's a dry spell. No, that's a fucking year's worth. The dry spell is not just a year's worth of stuff. That's like a full-on stop.
It was 2 generations worth, but the point is,
literally 2 generations of
Rare did come back though.
That's kind of my point. Remember, they had a cartoon and a serial for that one that they tried to come back with Microsoft.
Yeah, but let's not go down the rabbit hole right now. Carlos, make your point, man, because we still got a lot of questions tonight.
Because came back is way too of a overestimate on this. It's like. Yeah, just think about Rare. Rare was even better than what Bethesda is right now back in the day.
Yeah. And no, Carlos. But I said I'm not saying they're back. I'm not saying they're back to their old ways. I'm saying they're back to making video games. That's what I said, bro.
What I'm saying is, just imagine if Bethesda makes whatever the equivalent of Sea of Thieves is 20 years from now. That's a disaster. I don't care if there's a feel-good story and you made a decent game. That's a complete failure, no matter what they do from now on.
It's not a feel-good story. It was a point that Microsoft is shifting their direction and focusing on other things.
Yeah, but the Rare acquisition was a failure. There's just no other way to defend it. Whether you like Sea of Thieves or not.
No. I'm not saying that it was, man. Quit putting words in my mouth. I'm saying
no. I'm not. I didn't say you were. I'm just saying that's what I'm trying to say. That the Rare acquisition was a complete failure, and just to use it as a precautionary tale for what could happen with Bethesda. Obviously, I'm not predicting that's going to happen, but I'm saying that's happened before for the same company when they made a huge acquisition to one of the top studios in the whole world. So, it cannot just be,
yeah, well, I mean, it's not guaranteed, of course.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good.
I just say that's my one worry about all of it. It may just be, unfounded, but I just looking at the history of a lot of the way these things go, I'm hoping to God that these companies are still allowed to be themselves.
That's always the fear, right? Whenever a big company gobbles up another.
Yeah, well, you look at current Blizzard. You look at what happened in the news recently. Like Blizzard essentially just became fully Activision, and all the main guys just said "fuck this shit" and made up their own company. That's how bad it got.
Yeah, we didn't get around to talking about that on Thursday, but yeah, they made a new company. I think Dreamscape, I believe it is called.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. I want to move on because again we got a lot of shit. Oh, by the way, John Christ is offering to help develop the Throwdown game if we want it to be done. So we'll hit you up on that.
Oh, shit. Gotta be a River City Ransom beat 'em up, please.
Yeah, it'll probably be something 2D. You know how we roll around here, man.
That's it.
All right, man. Moving on, Mr. Damien. So his
What's up,
question.
Damien?
What's going on, Damien? Right. We all know Microsoft lost some mind share with the loss of Halo Infinite, but gained some back this week when they bought Bethesda. We know it will be some time before we see games from the Microsoft first-party studios. My question is, do you think Microsoft what do you think Microsoft has to do to keep gamers excited for Xbox until those 23 studios start putting out games? Great question.
That is a great question.
That's a great question because it's like, let's just be honest. Like, right now there's a lot of hope coming with Xbox. Oh, they're gonna have this, they're gonna have that. For the next year, what are you gonna be playing on your Xbox exclusively?
I think it's what we just heard with Bethesda and all this stuff, buying out these studios and making a lot of these either just timed exclusives or full-on exclusives that usually were multi.
Yeah,
I think that would be it.
I don't know. Brett, go ahead, man.
What do you think these studios were doing before they were bought?
Yeah, no, you're right. They could release something, but I still think it'll take a while.
I assume all of those studios had things in development, and I assume that all of those studios that had things in development are now going to come out on Microsoft. So, like, it's way too expensive to just have a whole development team just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah,
So
but you can't break publishing contracts with people, even if you have stuff in development. If Microsoft decided, hey, you know what, none of these games are going to come out for PlayStation, we've decided that. Okay, well, Sony can take you to court for breach of contract. See, that gets messy very fast.
and that's
So
exactly
you have to be
why
very
he
careful.
said they'll take it on a case-by-case basis.
By the way, case by case basis could mean them saying no. You know what I'm saying? Looking. By the way, the question, here's the thing. Let me just rephrase the question. What can Microsoft do to excite gamers until those studios actually start producing?
That's
No, but I'm talking about.
You already did that, buddy.
No, I'm talking about let's just be honest here. What are Xbox gamers gonna actually be playing on their system until they get these games?
Hellblade. I mean, I always get these windows mixed up, but like,
Hellblade is not. Hellblade doesn't even have a release date.
I need to check the fucking launch dates on some of these things, but
yeah, we do.
I expected.
You're roboting.
Yeah, roboting a little bit, brother.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you, but you're like crackly.
Yeah.
We got to hear that sweet Brett voice, bruh.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Hey, there you go. You're good.
Yo, man, force the internet. Force that Google fiber to do it.
Come on.
You got it, brother. Go ahead. You sound good now.
Pick me back up. Where do we leave off?
I was asking, what can people play before Hellblade comes out?
Oh, that's right. I expect a drought in the first year. We always have a drought. Like, Sony will have a drought too. We'll get like 4 or 5 games that they've announced that'll kind of get dropped throughout the first year, and then year 2 is really going to be when things start to mildly kick off with the things that are currently in development now. You can go back and listen to the podcast. For the first 2 years, for the first year, we're like, there's no reason to own a PlayStation.
Yeah.
There honestly wasn't. So I know that people want to find a way to sling stones, but by being like, well, what are they going to have exclusive in the first year? Like, man, what is anybody going to have exclusive in the first year? You get a handful of titles. It really depends on whether you like those titles or not. It's not like Microsoft's not going to release anything. I'm not at my computer. I'll go in a minute and check what's in the release window, but I'm not expecting much for the first couple years. I never am.
Yeah, so basically the answer is for both consoles, nothing.
For both consoles, nothing, and honestly, for both consoles, that's fucking normal at this point.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we just got
a bunch of third-party games. Yeah.
I think the factor for Microsoft, at least to try to get people in. So now they got people excited for an Xbox, right? To get with all these new the potential of all these different IPs being on there, exclusively. I think now that they have you in the door, right? They showed you the nice front of their store, right? Now that you're inside the store, now you realize, oh wait, there's this Game Pass shit. Or, we have all these games that you can get every single month. So I think it's going to be that, and then it's going to be, the potential of having essentially years worth of video games from the past, as well as the multi-platform games. Not to mention, they currently do have the most powerful console next generation console.
Those are all really good points.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, man.
you know, your console version of Assassin's Creed is probably going to look its best on the Xbox.
Digital Foundry, man. Digital Foundry, man.
Digital Foundry. Only today, Digital Foundry did a test on the new Dark Souls
Demon
footage,
Souls.
right? Demon Souls footage, and they found that it's not actually running at 4K.
No, it's not. 1440.
It's running at 1440.
Yo, I tweeted this out. I said I would not be surprised if that was just an up jump PS4 game too. You know.
So
Did they say that on the?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yep, that's what they said. The Digital Foundry said that game is running at 1440, and then it's upscaled to 4K. So yeah.
But thank you, Innate. 1440 60, 4K 30 confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to deal with this performance mode bullshit with these new consoles.
Exactly.
You know?
I will say this though: 1440 60 frames is still pretty good.
Oh no, it's good. But what about what happened to 4K 60, bruh? You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They were talking about that. We're convinced we want to have everything 4K and 60. We even said this before. They're never going to be none of these. They're not going to be officially hitting it. But Microsoft has been hitting it, and a lot of their new games have been. Say what you will about how janky Halo Infinite is.
You don't talk shit about Craig, man.
It was running at 4K 60.
4K 60. That's right. You know. Say what you will about it. Was it's as advertised. You know, it's as advertised.
4K pretty.
You know, Sony, man. I mean, I don't know if they've promised 4K, but this would be the third generation in a row. Remember, PS3 1080 60, we didn't get that. PS4 1080 60, we didn't get that. 4K 60, we ain't getting that. Come on, man, some bullshit.
Old Sony. By the way, I have an answer.
No.
People are not gonna like this.
It's
a running joke on Throwdown. # wait for E3.
Yo, by the way, did you see the headlines? Microsoft was already saying, wait till next year's E3 is going to be the shit. You know?
So that's what's going to hold people over is the promise of whatever E3 can
Man,
produce.
being an Xbox only fan is not easy, you know? Get yourself another console, bro. Get yourself another console.
All I know is that... Oh, go ahead.
And at E3, it's just like, you know... They gotta show Hellblade 2. They gotta show maybe two, like whatever the initiative is working on, and at least another game, another like unknown game that's gonna be released exclusively to Game Pass and Xbox.
John Christ says we are. Oh yeah, Valhalla, is that confirmed for 4K 60 for both consoles? I thought it was 4K 30, bro.
Valhalla.
Wasn't that the big uproar? It's like that motherfucker's only 4K 30. Okay, maybe they changed their minds, and good. You know, come on, guys. Stop with that bullshit. 4K 60. All right, if the chat says 4K 60, I could have sworn that shit was 30 frames a second. Motherfuckers was beefing, myself included. You know,
Nate, that's for both next gen consoles.
Yeah, both next gen, because we know Xbox is 4K 60. You know, what about PlayStation? I could have sworn 4K 30 for Stadia. Oh man, yo! By the way, John's a big streaming game advocate. Man, we got a question for him.
Anybody play Stadia? Anybody in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat. I actually reviewed Stadia. I actually have a Stadia right behind me. I never played that shit. Why?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if anyone's active on it. Like I never.
I know John's on that shit. Anyway, man, let's move on because we still got plenty more questions tonight. All right, next up we have the Assyrian Air Force. I really like that name. It's like, yo, man, the Assyrians don't even exist anymore, man. So how they gonna have an Air Force? You know, Assyrians were some brutal motherfuckers too, man. All right, always gave the Babylonian shit. Anyway, let me stop with the history stuff. He says, first off, it's his birthday. Happy birthday to you, brother.
Happy birthday, man.
And he also says, I enjoyed everything you guys do here. My man.
Thank you.
My man. All right, hypothetical question. What studio or IP purchases would Sony need to buy that would be as big as Bethesda for Microsoft? I'm gonna let Chris take this one over, but I'm just gonna say this right now: Sony can't match Bethesda, Microsoft at all monetarily in this at all. They can't do it. They cannot afford that shit. Chris, go ahead. Go into detail about this.
Yeah. So to get that kind of like IP power that Microsoft just pulled off. Sony hypothetically would have to purchase something like Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, yeah.
Which is a tremendous company. I mean, Sony does not have $7 to $8 billion to throw at Ubisoft, if that's even the asking price for their IPs. I mean, they have Far Cry and Splinter Cell and they have the whole Tom Clancy name. They own that
Yeah.
for video games. Like their IPs are very valuable. So, and I know like there'll be the argument like, well, Sony has multiple arms like Microsoft, but they don't have the kind of revenue or the valuation that Microsoft does, where they can throw money like this out and acquire this type of stuff. So even if Sony were to, hypothetically buy Konami, which was a stupid suggestion that was going around in the beginning, those IPs, they have a couple of valuable ones and a lot of just languishing ones. They that would not bring them up to the level that Microsoft's done. And remember that Microsoft's been doing this over time. It's not just ZeniMax. Like Microsoft bought the guys who do Hellblade. They bought the guys who make We Happy Few. They've been purchasing things over the last few years, so they have built up their IPs considerably. So and this is the biggest purchase. Those dwarf all the other ones they've done, but they've built up all this stuff considerably.
Think about this, Chris. This is like the long-term game. This is life after consoles. If
Yeah,
they
yeah.
decide to make another console, they'll still be in the gaming industry because they'll have a subservice and they'll own all these studios.
Yeah, exactly. It's about games as a service. It's about providing a service and competing on Google's level and really marginalizing Google. That's really what Microsoft's thinking. And that's where Phil Spencer's head's at. He's blocking Google at every segment. Just like, now I've got all these big IPs and Google wants to step in the big boy pool. No, I own the pool. And you're gonna have to talk to me to even dip your toe in. That's what he's doing, and it's a very smart move, and it's a huge move that Microsoft has the infrastructure with Azure and all this stuff to provide, and it's a little more than Sony is capable of emulating. Sony does not have the level of service to provide what Microsoft's doing in terms of xCloud and Game Pass, and they don't have the type of liquidity to go out and purchase something like Ubisoft. They just don't. So that it's a moot point. What Sony has to do is just keep doing what they're doing and develop. They have their own studios. They'll have to kind of extend themselves further with their IPs they have and or make new ones, and just and keep doing that.
Yeah, that's it. We don't really have anything more to say about that. All right, moving on here, we have another question from a Syrian Air Force. Right, Xbox Series X has proprietary expansion cards. PS5 allows third-party external storage, but only with compatible SSDs. Which method do you prefer?
For proprietary, just because without it, it's going to get very confusing. And we're going to see sales and stuff, and people will be like, "Oh, I'm just going to get this SSD. I know this is going to work," and the shit's not going to work.
Well, they'll have a list. They'll have a list.
They'll have a list. Well, people follow the list. That's the shit. We see it now, even with Microsoft and these Xboxes. People still get confused and they're buying the wrong shit. So I could definitely see that for the hard drives. They're like, it'll work. It's the SSD.
I think I'll say the same thing, because people get confused between like the S and the X, or the old Xbox and new Xbox. Can you imagine like the pandemonium if like Sony says, okay, these are only the ones that work for our console. Yeah, people just go on Amazon, type in SSD M.2, and then just buy whatever nonsense they find.
Man.
Brian.
Yeah, hold on. Manny, go ahead.
I mean, I'm going to say I like Sony's thing better because they give you an actual choice. I mean, if you remember back in the day, Microsoft was over fucking charging for their fucking hard drives, and they were just normal SanDisk hard drives with a fucking enclosure on it. And we're talking about proprietary bullshit. That sounded like PlayStation Vita. You know?
Vita, baby.
You know,
Vita,
and
baby.
how much you want to bet that $200 price? Did they say $200?
$220.
$220.
They said that $220 price. Is that going to go down? I don't know about that one.
No, it'll never go
But
down.
even
It'll
at
never go
M2
down, especially it being proprietary.
At M2 one, that's also its own custom design. That's going to be pricey. That's a high-end version. That's not
Here's the
just your
thing.
Yeah, but
They-
the Sony stuff has the potential to drop in price because you have
Yes.
competitors. You'll have like May says, you have SanDisk, Seagate, Western Digital, all these guys making one, and they'll undercut each other, and then you could buy one of those for your
So
PlayStation.
here's all right. So then here's another question we don't even have the answer to, because this is something that I did with the 360. It was just a standard hard drive that was in it. The proprietary part was just the case. I could open it up. I could put my own hard drive.
Yeah, you cracked it open. You did
Yeah, and that's it. So I wonder if that's going to be the case here. It's just the design. Seagate specialized the proprietary design case, the cradle, if you will. And if that's the case, then yeah, then if there's nothing else inside, because I know somebody will do it.
But hold on, isn't Microsoft's thing literally like a card? It's not like a hard drive.
SSD, they're calling it a card because of the design, the case that it comes. It's a little case.
Well,
inside.
they may have a controller chip in there that can tell that you fucked with it. So
Yeah, like correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm like, it looked like it was something small you could hold in
it's
between your
something
fingers.
small. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like a big bulky hard drive or anything, you know?
Well, that's the thing. SSDs, if you see most of them, they're like small.
Yeah, they're mass small. Yeah.
And it'd be hard to justify that to people. People look at price first. You show them this little thing. This is the expansion. It's $220. You're like, I spent $299 for the console.
Yeah.
This shit is just storage. That's $200. Yeah.
So
Get yourself just a Xbox Series X. Don't bother with the S if you're gonna buy this shit, you know.
Well, even if you do that, that's still not enough space. A terabyte. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation right there.
It's coming for $220. It's not enough.
Yeah, no. For me, I'm gonna go with Sony's method to compatible SSD because I'm not stupid. I know what to look for. So that's what I would go for. Proprietary stuff, like Manny said, I'm burnt by the Vita. I'm not trying to experience that shit again. I want to buy my own shit. Even though those are gonna be expensive too. Let's just be honest.
See, I'm the opposite way. I don't fucks with anything third party.
Yeah. All right.
Mad Catz killed 2 of my Dreamcasts.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's Seagate, you could trust Seagate.
Okay. Let me ask you
It's not like Mad Catz is making a hard
Yeah,
drive.
we're not Mad Catz. So rest in peace to Mad Catz, by the way. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Something happens, and for some reason, you're the 1 in a million manufacturing error that causes your Seagate to brick your system. Who's responsible?
It's not gonna break my system though. It's external. Am I wrong?
Literally plugging in a Mad Catz controller shorting out my system.
Mad Catz again, Brett. Damn.
The external drives, they can't brick your system.
Yeah.
No, the internal we're talking about, the SSDs.
No, but we don't know if we can do that yet. We don't know if we can do that.
It's just from Microsoft and Sony. Those aren't gonna. If that bricks your system, use your warranty. That means the console is defective.
This card slides into a slide. It's not plugging in externally. It is going internally.
The Microsoft one, you plug it into the back, man. That's it.
No, those
plug in. It's in.
Yeah.
It's internal.
No, Adam, it's not internal. It's like that's not saying USB is external. Internal.
I count USB. I come from a different world, so in my USB.
No, we're gonna go to everybody's world right now. That is external, Adam. That is not internal, bro.
We count that as an internal.
No, it's not, Adam. Internal is cracking the console open, and sticking something in there. That's internal.
It's not okay. What happened? Do you know what happens if you plug a USB 3 into a USB 2 port?
What downgrades to USB 2?
No, it shorts out the entire front of your fucking computer.
No, that doesn't happen, Brett.
Dude, I'm looking at a computer that it happened to. It happened on my computer. I had to rewire all of the lights and all of the fans in my fucking motherboard to the fuck. I had to buy replacement parts for my fucking case because my ass accidentally plugged in a USB 3.0. There was a loud pop. The system blacked out, and I had to go in and disconnect the parts manually before my PC would even turn on. I can't use the USB chargers on the front of my computure.
The chat saying it happened because of a short, not because you plugged in the wrong one.
That doesn't make any sense. Like it should normally downscale. Like my PC's like 11 years old. I plug USB 3.0 stuff into the front of it all the time, and nothing pops. Like if it pops, you had a power short. Like they said, the board had a short. Something went wrong.
Well, by the way,
when you plug that thing in, and all I'm saying is, I prefer first party because then you know who to fucking yell at. You know whose
Tony?
responsibility it is.
Tony.
Tony shorted his PC fans by blowing air on it.
That's true.
Got to cancel air now.
You cancel compressed air.
Not even the compressor is not even real.
Yeah. Carlos, did you go? Which method do you prefer?
I'm torn. I like the proprietary stuff because it's super simple and it's just what you're getting and just plug it and like it's soup. Actually, I'm leaning more towards that because it's just what to get. You don't have to Google anything. You don't have to go to the forums. You don't have to see which one
which work or not. There's always gonna be somebody say they had some weird issue with it, and it's like, do you trust that person's comment? Maybe they just put the shit in wrong.
Exactly. So I like the proprietary Microsoft one better than the third-party Sony one, just because of those reasons. But the reason why I thought about it a lot is because I like the third-party aspect because I think the prices will get lowered faster because of that because there's more competition.
Yeah. By the way, when I say third party, I do mean like officially licensed third party. I'm not gonna get some crazy ass shit, like the Seagates I use for my Xbox and PlayStation. They say they have the logo on there, officially licensed.
Well, I mean, the best example is what we saw in the Nintendo Switch and all those things, those adapters, and remember it was a frying shit. And then Nintendo came out, I was like, well, it's not really a USB-C port on here. Then what the fuck is it? It accepts it. It's like, we don't want to tell you. So,
yeah. All right.
It causes a lot of problems.
Brian.
It's a very odd concept. Again, I'm with Carlos here that it's really hard to tell. Because on the third-party side, it's great because then it means that it's just very simple. You buy it, it works, end of story. It's very console-like. However, the third-party is very PC-like in that, hey, it can work with all these ones. And as I said again, I think the main issue that you're going to find on the PlayStation side is that they're just going to buy whichever one is on Amazon and then say, oh, it doesn't work, and why doesn't it work? So hence you're going to leave it up to people like that who are going to just make everything worse. So it's like weird half and half. Personally, I prefer third party because then it means that I have the ability to pick and choose which one I want to use and support because not all will be made the same. So that's my preference. But for consoles, due to how people on consoles seem to buy wrong consoles simply because of the wrong naming, I think that the third party one would be easier for all those people.
Yeah. Chris, what do you prefer?
By the way,
go ahead, Carlos.
Just real quick, this is just Brian, remember we had a conversation about how the naming conventions of the Xbox consoles are going to be confusing to consumers? Well, apparently, 704% increase in Amazon Xbox One X sales kind of proved that.
Ranking, by the way, not sales, ranking. Just
rank.
Yeah, ranking, yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, no, but we were still proven right, though. We were still proven right. Yeah, Chris, which one do you prefer, man?
I prefer the Sony one because I think price always wins out in the end, and you'll be able to, as long as you know what you're doing, like that's the best option. Like I know what I'm going to buy. I know what will be compatible. I could always go to Sony and see what they recommend, and then I could choose the best one and just go on new. I can probably get a good price. So that's what I'd go with. I don't like being forced to buy one proprietary thing because Microsoft can mark it up however they want. They already did. I think it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, Chris, we don't know how much these are going to cost for the PlayStation.
Yeah,
more expensive.
I don't, but you have the option of size, and you know that if you wait a couple months, like 5 companies will make it, right? And they're all going to try to compete with each other, in terms of performance and cost. And that's where you win in the end. Microsoft has no way to compete with. They go to one provider. It's like it's us or nothing. So they don't have to. They don't have to change the price.
Yeah, just real quick. And Nate says my external on my PS4 is a 4 terabyte Western Digital. It doesn't say for PlayStation, but I know enough I know enough about tech to know what it is. There is no official external that big. The reason I'm saying that is because I do have an official Seagate terabyte, hard drive for Xbox, and it has Xbox logo blazoned on it. That's 8 terabytes. So they do make them bigger than that.
Yeah. Hell, even my router. I remember a while ago I was upgrading the firmware, and inside it was a setting. It was like, click this for Xbox. I'm like, what the fuck? They have their
Yeah, they do have them. They make it real easy.
Yeah, like just click this button and we'll just funnel everything properly networking wise to your Xbox. The
one for PlayStation 2 terabytes. Yeah, I don't know about PlayStation, but for Xbox, I'm just saying there are hard drives for consoles that are bigger than 4 terabytes. That's crazy. I think you're right about PlayStation. It's only 2. All right, moving on. We are, where the hell are we? Mr. Roman Ronan in the house. All right. Oh boy, make a prediction for next gen limited edition consoles or special collector's editions, whatever. For whichever console you want to speculate. What game or property will the first limited edition consoles be based on? Will it come out in 2021 or later? Yeah, we're not gonna get special editions probably for a while. I'm just going off of history here.
Because I saw a post, but I didn't follow through with it. Halo. Did Microsoft give a new date for Halo?
No.
It's just 2021.
Just 2021. Because depending on how far in 2021, I could see them coming out with a special Halo Master Chief.
They could by next year. I think by next year. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say that by next year we're going to start seeing special editions consoles.
Well, we have the monkey wrench here.
Yeah.
And that's PlayStation, and that's Japan. You never. They might release a black console fucking this year. You never.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh yeah, and then Japan gets it first.
But it doesn't depend on because we've never really seen these variants at launches because the supplies aren't there. That's why I'm saying next year. But you're right, PlayStation. If they come out with a black one, I'm gonna be pissed. Like I got this white shit in my house.
Get stickers. Got a whole lot of
stickers. I should just maybe I'll have you come over and paint my shit.
Dude, are you not getting finals for your system anyway?
What happened?
I'm actually curious. How many people in the chat here are going to put vinyls over their PlayStation?
Never done it.
No, I'm not going to do
that. I'll do it. You don't need to look at a chat. I'll fucking do it too.
Yeah.
How do we know we could even replace those things?
It's not a replacement. It's a vinyl sticker. You literally go to a site that has it perfectly measured.
Yeah.
And you order it, and you can either
skin it
or upload any image if you want. You could have a console with your face on it if you want. You just upload an image, crop it, and then send it. That's how I got my Kill la Kill one.
Yeah. By the way, Brett, because you asked the chat, they're all saying hell no.
Really?
I don't know. They're putting it skin. They're gonna leave.
Yeah,
I don't put vinyl on my shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either.
I have bad experiences from doing that one with those Nintendo Power stickers on the Game Boy.
Stickers is different. They're like the glue and shit that they put on those things, but most of these vinyls, it's easy to peel off and put back on.
Or the horror stories that a couple of people were like, "Hey, yeah, I covered my Switch with this wood vinyl, and it destroyed my."
Yeah, the glue on those vinyls destroyed the Switch because it's the soft plastic. It dissolves it.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I'll show you.
Yeah. By the way, so yeah, console bundles. Yeah, Halo. I think we're gonna get one for sure. Oh, hold on, Brett's on camera. Oh, nice.
See? Like, why suffer a boring plain console?
Have you ever tried to take it off?
Yeah. I can, but then it's not really easy to put back on, and then I'm afraid if I do.
By the way, Brett, you're also yeah. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, this is the one made by Nintendo, which I'm honestly not a fan of. The ones I've ordered online, like Adam said, they're a thick vinyl. You can peel them on and off. They're made of the same stuff that like the Christmas thing vinyls that you slap in your window. They're made of that same stuff. So as long as you don't pull it and stretch it like a retard, then you can pretty much take it on and off indefinitely.
But Brett, you know me, man. I'm the guy who likes vanilla ice cream, plain sliced pizza, and Corona beers. I don't want to put shit on my consoles. Like, keep it as is, Yeah. I don't even like modding my games. I'm like, leave it as is. Don't touch it.
I get everything I get. I have to put buttons or stickers on because I'm a weirdo like that.
Hey, brother, do your thing, man. Ain't no judgment here.
I'm the same way. I don't even put stickers on my car, man.
Yeah, no, I don't put nothing. Like, no, leave it as is.
No, I don't put stickers.
It's like my car is.
Yo, man, I want it black like a black hole, man. Light can't escape its surface.
No. You don't fucking you don't put stickers on your goddamn car. But like my toolboxes, all my shit at work, like of course, like every tattoo artist toolbox covered with stickers. I have a suitcase covered in stickers. I got patches. I got like 9 buttons on my backpack, and none of them are just like, and that's not even like my actual buttons, like any of the fucking superhero buttons or any of the color buttons or the graffiti buttons. Like I'm talking like, you know, steel pressed buttons. My favorite one is it's a Mason symbol / Empire symbol blended into one. It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, customizing your shit I think is fun, and I think it's really weird that a lot of people are like, I hate how it's white. If they come out with a black one in a few months, I'm gonna be super pissed. I'm like, literally, you could put a black sticker over it.
Yeah.
I don't see what the
But it's not official. That's my thing, you know.
And we also don't, for at least for the Xbox, it'll be easy, man. It's literally a fucking box that you just have to make sure that you don't cover up the fan hole.
Hey, Xbox is already black, so it's good.
But for PlayStation, how the fuck are you gonna cover that shit? Because the inside what is it? The inside of that plastic V shell on the outside has all those friggin' PlayStation logos. So how are you're gonna cover all of that, or the edge?
You're probably just only gonna cover the white part.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you're still gonna have a white center.
No, that white center is part of the white part.
No, I'm saying the way that thing is shaped is like when at least the sticker that you're gonna have to put onto that is probably gonna get inside of those little tiny crevices. And you're still going to have a white edge because it's so thick. It's a weird shape.
You would be surprised at, like, they come in pieces. They usually come in like 5-6 pieces. They're extremely well measured. I've never run across that. I can put that shit across a vent.
Yeah. By the way, we're getting all. Go ahead, Brett. Yeah.
I have them on my controllers. Like I have a Doom controller. It's up at work right now. But like, yeah, you can place it so that it's around all the joysticks and all the buttons and perfectly covers everything seamlessly. It's possible. Sometimes it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it's possible.
Yeah. All right.
Again,
yeah.
If you're buying it final, you can take it on and off again until you get it right. So
we need a fucking endorsement from one of these vinyl things. We always plug them, you know. But anyway, to the actual question here, what collector's editions do you think we'll see? Yeah, I think the Doom would be cool actually. Spider-Man, yeah, probably. By the way, I'm thinking in my head just next year because it's not going to happen within the first year. You know, that's not going to happen.
We're going to get a Spider-Man.
Yeah, for Spider-Man 2, yeah, you're right. When Spider-Man 2 drops, we're going to get that.
No. Miles Morales, Spider-Man Special Edition.
Oh, it's not happening. Not happening.
2021.
2021? How far into 2021?
Okay, we're basically going to be at the end of the year when the console releases. So when you say over the next year, it's over all of 2021. Okay.
See, I'm saying late 2021. And again, I'm just going off of history here.
Late 2021 is a year after.
Yeah. So, you think they're going to re-release the game then?
Yeah, it'll be about a year after. They're going to they won't re-release the game, but they'll let it sell, and then in about a year, they're going to turn it into a special edition.
Oh, the reason I said is because usually special edition consoles come with a new game. You know?
Yeah, they don't usually do old games.
Yeah, they don't do old games, no. So it would be, but Spider-Man 2, whenever that drops, that actually seems more fitting. I could definitely see that. You know, like some webs and shit on it, you know?
Didn't we see... Did Microsoft do a special edition for Minecraft? Even though that was an old game,
they did. That was when they acquired the IP, though. Yeah.
Dude, they do Call of Duty bundles and special editions all the time.
Yeah.
Like
but Brett, so Brett, let me ask you this, and you guys. So you think it's more likely that we're going to get a Spider-Man Miles Morales one than a Spider-Man 2 one?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be just a minimal, like, they changed one piece of plastic to have a spider on it, and they release it with Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
It'll just be this small, like, wow, that's what you call a special edition? Well, kinda. Enough to sell right now.
Yeah.
So at least that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm usually really disappointed with the first special editions because, yeah, they just went to one part of the production line, went, let's change this piece of plastic to this other piece of plastic that has a spider on it. I think we're good to go. And, you know, it's not fucking impressive. A couple years in, that's when you start getting the cool shit. And yes, for Spider-Man 2, 100%.
Oh, you already know.
I don't put it past them to, like, dude, Spider-Man is a horse Sony will beat to death. Like, it is their thing. It is big. Nobody else has it. They're responsible. They are proud of that shit. And they should be. Movies, big in movies. They made an amazing game. It's kind of a phenomenon. There's no way they're not going to milk that for all it's worth. They got at least a year's worth of milk in there.
Well, since we're already talking about the changes, do you see them ever making a smaller version from this big dookie size one that they're releasing?
Oh, what, collector's edition and shit?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we've seen the slims of all of these.
Oh yeah, no. Sony has a history of that. We're gonna get a slim version for sure, for sure.
Yeah, a few 4 or
Yeah,
5
but that's a whole
years
other
in, sure.
conversation, right? Anything else you guys want to say about collector's editions? Yeah, most of us don't really care about collector's editions, so that's why we're kind of like, man, whatever.
Usually the collector's editions come when we've already had the fucking console.
Yeah, it's like I got the console already. It's like, what the fuck? I
would get the collector's edition if it came out with the damn thing, but usually they want to give everybody the same looking console. At least here in the States. Japan is a different story. They have like 10 different variants on day one.
Yeah, we're getting some love for that Among Us game in the chat right now. Well, hey, listen, if you guys like that stuff, go ahead. You know, man. All right, moving on here to who's next? Axel Wolf. All right, who has the okay? Xbox has 23 studios and Sony has 15. Who has the most potential this coming generation?
Not so much the studios; it's the quality.
It's the quality, yeah. Yeah. So who knows? At this point, we actually don't know. I think they're actually even at this moment. You know, in terms of like who the fuck knows what these guys are going to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Microsoft has more studios, but Sony has a better proven track record.
Yeah.
So
kind of cancels each other out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we can't really answer that because we don't know. But we have a comment here from Mr. Axel Wolf. And Manny, it's kind of at you.
Oh.
He goes, I have a comment about the previous episode. Brett was trying to see what would interest Manny into getting an Xbox. Manny said he doesn't know what he wants, but blames the companies for that. That's like blaming all the restaurants when you don't know what you're in the mood to eat. Maybe gaming isn't for you anymore. ?
Well, I'm looking for. Here's the thing. I'm not. There's a variety of things that I'm.
Well, Manny, before you go on, Manny just got the platinum in Control, so he's still a gamer. You know?
Still a gamer. By the way, 3 platinums this year.
My man.
So, just saying. But I'm gonna say this. I'm looking for new experiences. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know exactly what those new experiences are. I mean, there's a lot of different things that sort of interest me. So I'm not looking, to be honest. It's like hearing the same old story over and over again isn't something that always excites me. Like, hey, hearing that there's going to be a new whatever franchise, like the new God of War. Okay, whatever. Hearing that there's going to be a new Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, whatever. Those things are not the things that are going to make me want to invest in a new console. So when it comes to, when it comes to Microsoft, I'm always waiting for them to show me something that for number one, I haven't seen before, which is, I don't exactly know what that is yet. And something I'll be okay, yeah, that's the thing. That's something I really wanted to see. You know, I'm not
trying new games.
I'm trying. Am I trying new games?
Yeah, like I go through and I make sure I play every new mechanic experience. Like I get excited about things. Did you play Absolver? Did you play Evolution? Did you play any of these games that tried to revolutionize their gameplay?
I'm not looking for not looking for something that per se is very revolutionary. But I'm also not looking for a by the numbers sort of game either. You know, it's a little more complicated than just sort of, hey, look, just, you know, there's a lot more switches to click for me than there are maybe for most people. Some people, you just say fucking Dragon Ball Z and then literally every single person buys it. For me, it's not that way.
I think for you, it's just more of a case by case basis, and like
exactly
case by case basis. The phrase of the night.
Okay, wow. I'm gonna say this. Okay, I bought The Quiet Man, right? That game looked interesting to me. It didn't look interesting to anybody else in here in the room, and I played it, and I thought it was fine.
Trash game, by the way.
I thought it was exactly what I expected. And I was like, hey, you know what? This was kind of interesting. Not the greatest experience, but you know what? Fine. What was it? There was another one that I bought. I bought the Black Sad game. I mean, there's a couple of different things. I was like, yeah, you know, there's some, you know, what things are gonna interest me, and I haven't actually seen anything like that for, you know, I could talk about it before with the Xbox 360. I have to say that generation was the one that almost made me invest in one, It just needed a little bit more, little more reasons for me to go sit down and do it. But I said definitely Gears of War was something that almost sold me on an Xbox 360.
See, I feel like there's a common thread here. It's just complicated and buried. Like the way I have a really weird taste in games, but there's kind of a theme there.
Mine is, it's weird because I'm like, I wouldn't say I have an exact weird taste in games. It's just sort of like, hey, this looks cool, I want to play it. It's not really like,
what makes it look cool though? Like what has made these things? And now I'm just asking out of curiosity because I'm fascinated by this.
Sometimes it's purely just aesthetics, right? Like,
I can see that.
Where it's like, oh wow, this game, like, why like, well, let's go with Control. Like, I literally bought Control because I thought it looked cool, you know. And the number one, and then two was Remedy, a company that I highly respect, made the game, you know, and Sam Lake and all those guys. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go down that road, and I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Just the things that make. I was asking what elements you're drawn to in games, and if there's, you know, common thread.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot. At one point, it's aesthetics. One point, it's also could be control. You know, the actual control, the gameplay, stuff like that. Or sometimes it's like, okay, is it? Oh wait, this is something that I never expected to play. So I may end up playing something that I didn't expect to play just based off of certain things. Hey, look, the storyline on this is pretty interesting. Oh wow, then I'm playing an RTS game now. You know, that's what it's a bunch of different factors that tend to go into it. And I don't know in advance what's going to sort of strike my fancy, but it may. And that's why I'm sort of I'm just absorbing the information, and then it's like, hey, this makes me want to pick it up.
Even if it's dirt cheap, whoever said that message, man, he still won't play it. There was we were all playing Division. We're like, yo, $2.99.
I mean, the Division does not strike any of my any chords. I don't care for repetitive gameplay. I don't care for
activity games. You know, you don't like those yet.
Activity games. I don't like that. Like useless loot searching. That's part of one thing I didn't like about Control, where it didn't have solidified accessories, where literally it just had a randomizer, and you're just like, okay, you get this, throw that away. I didn't care for that because it was just like, can it just make it a lot more simple? So yeah, looter shooter games, I'm not a big fan of. I don't care about. I mean, granted, it is a competitive shooter, but I'm also, believe it or not, that big into shooting games. Despite a bunch of the games that I play are shooting games, but I fucking suck at shooting games. So it's a bunch of it's a lot. I'm an onion. Let's just say that.
You're the hardest of us to pin down, I think, is what it is. Like, not necessarily the hardest of us to predict, because a lot of us will be like, not saying Manny ain't playing that. But like in terms of like what you want, like I feel like the rest of us kind of like narrative game.
Tony.
I'm the opposite of Manny. You know exactly what I like.
Tony, we can exactly predict what Tony is pretty much going to play. You know, with a small margin of error. Lords of Shadow.
Yeah. You're the one.
Hey, listen, I was Castlevania, man. You know, that's why I played it.
But the thing is about it, it's like at the same time, it's like that game also broke it too, because it's like it has everything that you could possibly want as far as
it's just done wrong. Another one I did that was Dante's Inferno. It has all the Tony hallmarks. Fucking stupid game, you know. But I know what I like. I'm not the person that's gonna experiment. You know, good thing though, because of my job, I do get to play these weirdo games. But all they are, I'm just being honest right now, they're just a game that I'm writing for so I could get money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna like people like if these indie games I always end up playing. I play them just for a couple of hours and shit, get my review out. I'm never touching those fucking things again. Here's the thing, you know what I like, but you also know what I don't like. I don't fuck with those indie games and shit. Like people were talking about Among Us. I saw, I'm like, this thing looks fucking stupid. I played that fucking was it Fall Guys? That was stupid too. I'm like, what is this trash? You know? So that's me. Like I'm like, you will never hear, I want a new experience for me. No, I want shit that I like and I want it good. That's all. You know?
here's the thing. There can also be, for me, there will also be sometimes there will be like exceptions. Like again, like I say, I don't like, for the most part, I don't like those sort of multiplayer shooter games. But maybe there might be something that will interest me within that sort of genre. So I'm not trying to close the door on anything either. I want to be surprised in some way. So if it strikes those mysterious chords that are there that I know but don't fully know, then I'll pick up the thing, and that's the way it is.
There you go. All right, let's move on, man. Actually, one last thing. He goes, P.S. When you get Hip Hop on, yes, we will have Hip Hop Gamer on this Thursday. Get ready, people. Ask him when we are going to get that Vita 2 he claimed was coming out years ago on the Warzone. I'll ask him for you, man.
That's a throwback. Somebody's been around for a while. You're talking about Warzone.
Yeah. No, he's been around, man. He's been around. So real quick, let me make sure I get the next Chiron. We're back with that, people, because Tony's back. All right, man. Next question, and we still got a lot of fucking questions tonight. Jesus, man. All right, Villa Kyle, a new name. Welcome. All right, his question is: seeing how cloud gaming is generally considered the future, do you think this console war, he puts that in quotes, is just a marketing strategy accepted by both companies to drive sales of what has been speculated to be the last console generation? Interesting question.
I think people create this. People always want to pick a side just for everything. That's just the way life is. We all pick a side, pick a color. If someone goes against it, it's like, no, we have our reasons. And then they just go with it if it could make a profit out of it.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brett.
I'm just like, the funny thing is, like, all of us were there for the inception of the console wars. Like, I wonder how old this person is, because, this shit started with Nintendo and Sega, where Sega said they were going to be more extreme because it was the 90s than Nintendo, and they were going to leave the blood in the video games, and a divide was made. Like, there's a clear-cut story about, you can tell it like an origin story, like, once there was a hole of gamers, and then out of the darkness came Sega, tempting, and it split them in two, and a war commenced. It's like the first Jedi. So we could track it all the way back to its inception, and so if you'd ask anything, it would be, did Nintendo and Sega get together to create this as a way to market each other? And the answer is no. People were just throwing consoles out and just swinging. Like, there were several consoles coming out, and they were coming out right on top of each other.
Yeah.
And, there were so many video games, and then some of them weren't certified. The whole game thing collapsed, and then it re-exploded. Like, it was a weird chaos, and just somehow Atari got conquered early.
Well, Atari killed itself,
Yeah, and then Sony and Nintendo came out. So
Nintendo and Sega.
I don't think there's any speculation on this.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion, though.
I didn't think about that. You're right. Like, maybe he's a younger guy. He's like, console wars is not a new thing. Like, what we're seeing now, like the first console wars between Sega and Nintendo back in the day. By the way, if you guys have CBS All Access, go check out Console Wars documentary. Excellent adaptation of the book. Check that out. You guys will learn some shit. Here's the funny thing. These kids in the documentary are talking about blast processing the same way dudes nowadays talk about teraflops. It's hilarious. It's like nothing's changed. It's the same shit,
Yeah.
30 years later, it's the same shit,
It's the new buzzword, right?
Yeah, like you saw this little ass kid, like, hey, I'm getting a Genesis because it has blast processing. I'm thinking about like a 40-year-old man saying, I'm getting an Xbox because it has more teraflops.
Well, the only difference is that blast processing was
it's the same fucking kid.
but teraflops, that's a real thing.
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying. It's like,
I get it.
But they're using these things as like a weapon or like something to champion about their specific console.
It's like when Microsoft was using the better in the cloud shit, right?
Yeah. It was funny, man. Yeah, again, these kids like, I'm getting Mortal Kombat and Genesis because it has blood. The Super Nintendo one's for babies,
Yeah, remember Secret Sauce?
Secret Sauce, yeah. They all do it. So here's the thing, but going back to the main processor, all that shit, okay, but here's the thing, because we always hear this all the time, right? This is the final console generation, and it always gets proven wrong, right? I think consoles will eventually die, I really do believe that. Maybe not this one, maybe not this generation, but I think within our lifetime, it's all going to go to streaming. I know some of you guys don't like. I don't like to hear that shit, but I'm seeing the trend. Look, movies have gone streaming, music has gone, everything's gone streaming. Games are the last holdout. But here's the thing about games, though. I still think they're gonna probably make specialty consoles that play specialty disc or whatever. But it's all gonna go streaming. Again, I'm just looking at the trends, not because some people they say no, it's not gonna happen just because they feel that way. It's like, take your feelings out of the equation, man. Look at the trends. Again, I don't like where this thing's going, but I'm seeing it how it is, And based off of my experiences with Stadia and GeForce and Project Cloud and Shadow, streaming, if you have a good connection, is pretty fucking tight, So things are just going to get better within the next 20 years. So that's going to be the future for sure,
Blockbuster could have bought in with the whole Netflix and
look what happened. Look what happened.
Everyone's gonna want. What do you mean? They're gonna love it. No one's doing streaming. That's not a thing.
Yeah, look what happened. Look what R.I.P. Blockbuster. Brett, you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, I honestly don't necessarily care. And I know that sounds weird, but it's already happened with several things. It's already happened with music, and that's not a bad thing. I could just snap my fingers and have a bunch of bands that I like play music. I can pull up Netflix, even though I pay a subscription, and I can, find the part that the movie or whatever that I want to watch eventually. The thing that I'm thinking that move forward here is, I think they may stay dedicated consoles, but as they move more towards a streaming service, they'll probably have some sort of small proprietary thing that they put in the backs of TVs or whatever. So is your TV loaded with Xbox? And if it is, all you need is a controller, which justifies jacking up the price of this TV like $300. And then Microsoft's behind the scenes making money selling their proprietary hardware that is the only thing that happens to be the only thing that can play this to Samsung or
software,
whatever.
You mean? Yeah, because Brett, think about this. You know how you have Netflix on your TV? Think of Xbox on your TV, Xbox Game Pass on your TV. That's it. It's going to be that. It's an app,
And you would spend an extra $200 to get the TV that has Xbox capabilities, even if you didn't know what that meant. Even if that's just them saying, "Oh, you can't run it unless we have this." It could be a license agreement. It could be proprietary hardware. What the fuck ever. But you'd pay a little extra for that TV.
Remember, OnLive tried that.
OnLive, man, yo.
Yeah,
they were the first guys I remember,
They just didn't have the collection of games, but they tried.
But now it's coming, so yeah, it's definitely going to be the future. But as for, again, I don't want to say this generation, but obviously not this generation. The generation's already here, but maybe the next one. I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to happen eventually for sure. That's just the way it is. Accept it, people. All right. Huh? What happened, Brett?
I want to ask you. Do you think it'll be that bad though?
No. I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be bad or good. It's just going to be what it is. That's it. People are just going to accept it. Think about it like this, right? With music, right? MP3s are shitty audio quality, but they're convenient, so people just deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about convenience. If you buy a TV, it's like, oh shit, it has a video game app. Fuck, I just got to buy a controller. Okay, I'm all in. Real easy. Oh, and I could play that same game on my phone when I leave my house. Sure, why not? All right, man. Moving on. Ronan once again. Again, remember I switched up the orders here. All right. Final Fantasy logo art is symbolic of something in the game story. So what do you guys make of the Final Fantasy XVI logo's art? What I find interesting is the trailer highlights Shiva, which is an ice summon, but the logo depicts a fight between Phoenix and Ifrit, which are fire summons. To be honest, I didn't think too deeply about this shit. Like with Final Fantasy logos, I just like looking at them. I never actually I actually didn't know they had symbolisms. Like, oh, it looks cool, whatever, The only one I could think about right now is like Final Fantasy VIII, where it had Squall and what's her face. Like, okay, that kind of tells you what's going on with the story. But yeah, I don't really think too deeply about it. Like the logo looks cool. That's it. As long as they what's his face to do it, I'm fine.
Yeah, Mono.
Yeah.
I don't know if Amano did that one.
I don't know if he did, but he has been doing them. He has that's all he does right now for Final Fantasy. He uses the logos, but
they don't let him design any games anymore.
So maybe maybe the game's gonna have some fire shit going on. I don't know. I don't really look too deeply into that sort of stuff. So
I mean, same here. But one thing I do like about that new one is it's gone back to being sort of medieval again.
Yeah, it's a medieval game, yeah.
as opposed to the sort of semi-future games that they've been doing for the last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
That's what I'll speculate a little bit, but I didn't notice the logo thing. I just noticed in the trailer, I don't think summons are going to be just these entities that come down anymore, you know, when you call them. Like they're just like gods or whatever, they come down and just do an attack. I think the people are these things. Like there was that kid looked like he turned into their freak when when that guy killed the dude in front of him, the blood sprayed all over the kid, then it turned into fire. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. So that may be how they're changing it up. Like the summon, like you become the summon, right? Or you a character in your party becomes like the thing. So you have an Ifrit or a Shiva on your team. It's like there's Bob over there. Bob, yeah, some blood on your face. Get mad. All right, go out there and fucking kill that guy.
I like that. It's good. Yeah, and that's never been done before. If correct me if I'm wrong. Like you become the summon. You know, like
That,
yeah.
If you are the summon, that would be a prequel.
What do you mean prequel? So remember, each Final Fantasy is a standalone.
I know. Technically, that would make it. You know, if there were a timeline before, because you're talking about Aethers. Aethers have always been summons. And in 6, you saw Aethers turn into summons. So you can at least kind of divulge there's a certain point which, you know, thematically across the universe, the Aethers no longer were a thing. So to actually explore the idea of them being a thing is actually pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
I think
they always have different summons. Remember, Aeons, they were called in Final Fantasy X, but they're all the same thing, you know?
It could also be like you're the rebirth, the physical reincarnation of these summons.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think the characters are going to turn into the summons.
Yeah. You know what's sad, man? Like, all that bad PlayStation news after that showcase took me away from the fact that I should have been way more hyped. Like, dude, I've been asking for Final Fantasy 16 forever. I even said, like, hey, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, that's great. I want 16. Like, obviously, you guys saw my reaction when I saw the trailer. I was losing my fucking mind. But after all that bullshit, I completely forgot about the trailer. I was just so fixated on the bad news. But, yeah, just the fact, oh, Final Fantasy gave me that shit. And apparently that was all, like, in-game. By the way, you know, because again, since we don't have too much speculation, I will tell you this. I saw today that apparently some people were mad about the trailer's quality. Right? They're like, how come it doesn't look polished? The developer said that they could have put together a CG trailer, but that would have taken too long. They would prefer to just show you a raw gameplay trailer, or at least in-game engine shit. You know, I think that's kind of better. Even if obviously the final game's going to look different than that, but I think it's cool that they said, "Fuck the CG stuff. Here's what the game will look like." You know.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, it looked good to me. It looked good. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. You know, and if you get it, I think it's running on. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I heard this is what I heard, so I could be wrong. It could be just some guy talking shit. You know, that apparently it's running on a new Final Fantasy 16 engine. Take that how you will. You know, but I'm like, yo, fuck all that. Make it on Unreal Engine 5, man. You know, because Unreal 4 did its thing with Final Fantasy 7 Remake, so. Put that shit on 5, legit, you know. All right, man.
I thought you were gonna say it's running on the Luminous engine. I'm like,
no,
what the fuck?
they're retiring that shit. I think. All right, man.
It's not the remastering engine.
Yeah, it's not the remastering engine. Yeah.
If you think about it, that thing was a big old failure. They spent all that fucking money on it, and they said they were going to develop all their games on it, and apparently
one game,
difficult to build for. So it's just made one game. That's like the old Japanese way there.
Yep. All right, man. Moving on to Riku-san 1, the only one.
What's up, guys?
All right, now this question is for the old school.
Uh-oh.
Get ready. This is an interesting one. All right. Why do people who love games like Golden Axe, Altered Beast, and Streets of Rage dislike the natural evolution of that genre, which is the Warriors type games? They'll call Warriors boring and repetitive, even though you do less in the 2D games. They consider timeless and beloved. He's talking about us, you know?
Oh. He's like, why do you people?
Yeah. Manny, you want to go first?
Yeah. You know, the one thing about it is that I almost feel like I don't think the Muso game is actually an evolution of that. I think the Devil May Cry games are those are the evolution of the beat 'em up. And the Bayonetta games. I don't think Muso games are those.
Yeah, Muso games are kind of something else, you know. Because here's the thing about beat 'em ups, right? That I hope Rico understands this, right? Even though you do face a lot of foes it's still a limited amount, right? So you have to kind of approach each opponent individually and attack them individually, right? With a Muso game, you're literally just swinging a sword around or a staff or whatever at a million guys coming at you all at once, right? So that's a big difference right there. And also, and I will fairly admit I haven't played enough of the Muso games to know this. One thing I like about the 2D games, like you want to see, okay, what's on the next panel? What's coming up next? And you notice the really good ones, like the ones Riku mentioned, the background tells a story, right? So you want to see what's going to happen next. What bosses am I going to face? What enemies? What combinations? I don't really get that with the Muso games. It's just like hack.
Yeah, they give you a big wide space to kind of hang around and start blowing the shit out of everything, right? But
go ahead. I'm sorry. I got to finish up because I'm going to make a very important point. Go ahead. And the other thing about beat 'em ups is they're short. They're short. If you had a beat 'em up that's like 10 hours long, then it would get fucking grating. What's a beat 'em up? Like an hour at most. With a Muso game, you're there for like 20 hours and shit, just doing the same fucking shit. With a beat 'em up, like Final Fight, classic fucking game. 30 minutes, you're done. The longest beat 'em up again I played was Streets of Rage 4. That was like 2 hours. That didn't get it on its nerves because again it had a lot of different things. But most beat 'em up games are short, and that helps it because if you had a 20-hour beat 'em up game, no, that shit would not fly at all. But I do find it interesting how, because they have tried beat 'em up games in 3D and none of them work. It's like Sonic games. Sonic games only function in 2D. Same thing with beat 'em up games. They only really function in 2D spaces. They don't function in 3D, which is weird. Go ahead, bro. Adam.
Because remember, originally those were just for arcades, so they were just trying to import launchers. So then there was no reason to be there too long because they were like, oh, how long is someone actually going to spend before they just rage quit? So it's like, let's not make it too long so that way they can still feel like getting toward the end and then just invest because they see the map. That was the other beauty, especially like what you mentioned with the Final Fight. They show you the map, beginning
yes,
and
progression. Yeah.
So you the next one and you're like, all right, I'm close. I got like $2 a quarter. So I might make it. You won't though. But that's how they set it up, and yeah, that's why they're usually short.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat said I'm Beerus. I don't see how. I'm not some little skinny purple monster.
Wait, what? Oh, from Dragon Ball.
Yeah. They said Tony's Beerus. I mean, listen, I'll take the God part of it, sure. And here's the thing: if I was Beerus, I probably would be like that. Like, dude, I'm so powerful. I'm just gonna chill out and eat all day. I'm not gonna gain any weight.
Yeah, you could beat Beerus by just giving him good food.
That is true. Yeah, but I'm like, but I'm not a purple Anubis little guy. Oh man, Chris, what about you, man? Why do you? What do you think about this question?
I agree with Manny. As a matter of fact, the Devil May Cry thing was a perfect analogy because beat 'em ups do that thing too, where you can only progress a little bit, right? And the stage stops, and like 5 or 6 or a few guys come in, or a boss comes in, and then you beat them up, and then you progress a little bit. That's the same thing Devil May Cry does. In the Muso games, I played Samurai Warriors. You don't need to stop. I just took my horse and rode into the castle. I plowed through 5,000 guys, and I was like, oh, the guys over there, and run all the way in, jump in, smack. Everybody's like fodder. Like you don't feel that way in a beat 'em up. Like some guys are challenging, and you have to approach them differently. I never approach anyone differently in Samurai Warriors. I just smack the shit out of them. They're just like fucking, like they're nothing. They're like dolls. They're just like they're just in my way, and I'm just like knocking them around, and until I get to the guy who, the boss, who actually has a health meter.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because that's that again, and I kind of hinted at that too. It's like when you're fighting these guys, it feels epic. Even if it's like you're surrounded by 5 guys, fighting the individual guys, none of those guys feel like fodder. They all feel like impactful, and you're trying different things and stuff. But you're right; it's like you're knocking over fucking dolls in Muso games. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely like a power fantasy, and that's like you're like, I'm so awesome, I can destroy everybody with this one hit.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that's an evolution. Like
no, I don't think it's evolution.
Yeah.
No.
No, they're not evolution. It's their own thing. I can understand why Riku would say that, just because you're fighting a bunch of guys, but it's very different. You get a different feel from them, and they function very different. So, we disagree with you on that end. They're not a natural evolution. Oh man, C. Iverson, that's my nephew, by the way. He goes to Coalition Studios, but with a K. Well, we ain't a studio, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's move on.
2K based.
By the way, I almost skipped this question. My bad, Black Metal Gamer. And Carlos, I want you to answer this one first. How come people didn't get mad that Breath of the Wild was a cross-gen game?
Oh, because
Okay, Carlos, motherfucker.
sorry about that. Sorry.
All right, so I'll give the Brian answer
Uh-oh.
because a lot of people did not know it was on the Wii U. That's
Oh.
why.
No, I think you're right.
And obviously, the Switch is a glorified Wii U HD. So that's a lot of people forgot Mario Kart 8 was a thing, and people forgot that a whole bunch of other games that came out for the Wii U that people didn't play were a thing. So yeah.
All right, Manny, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it is. I think the whole reason why is because I think it has to do with console war bullshit. That there's a previous. Oh well, actually, no, not console war bullshit. I just think it just doesn't. It didn't matter to people. That we want to go back. I mean, people weren't giving a shit that Zelda, the Twilight Princess was on the Wii, and also on the GameCube.
Yeah. I
don't think anybody gave a shit about that then. I mean, to be honest.
Well, he wants to know why didn't care.
The reason why is power, man. I mean, Nintendo games, no matter what you get, whatever console you're going to get it on, they're probably going to look at a certain quality. They're not going to be gimped by the previous generation because they're all going to look the same, right?
Yeah.
But Wind Waker looks exactly the same as it does on the Wii U as it does on the was it Wind Waker? No, which one was the previous one? Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild on Wii U looks exactly the same as it does on the Switch. Maybe difference might be a little bit of a higher resolution. Higher resolution. But other than that, this experience is pretty much the same. You can't say that the previous generation is holding it back.
Yeah, Brett, go ahead, man. Mr. Murdoch.
I totally lost it.
Oh well.
Continue.
Oh.
Yeah.
It just all boils down to that people didn't care about the Wii U in general. So
Nintendo fans didn't care. Although those motherfuckers defended it till the Switch came out, then they dumped it like hot trash, So they just told me those same guys who used to argue with me, like that would say like, oh, the Wii U is as powerful as PS4, and I was like, that's great crack. You mind sharing it? What are you smoking? And then as soon as the Switch came out, the Wii U became a toy. It was like they didn't even give a shit. So
I was one of the last. Defenders, man. I went down with all the other 10 people that were left.
I tell you what, Nintendo fans are not like other gaming fans either.
Yeah, we're not getting into that. Those guys they're special, man. They are special. All right. Let's move on to the next question here. Oh, no, we already answered that question. Let's go to this one. This one will be fun. Drunken Demon. Name sounds familiar. I bet the guy has a very nice accent. So his question is, I'm gonna fluff a little while I get the Chiron ready. It's a very good question. That's it's kind of reminiscent of what we talked about before. Now that Microsoft owns ZeniMax, there's been an unofficial image of Master Chief versus Doom Guy. So the question is, who would win?
Oh yeah, that's a good question because now Doom Guy is supernatural, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be Doom Guy.
I think Doom Guy, like he fights like demons and angels and shit,
But also,
I'm pretty sure if he killed, if he just fight his way back from hell,
he probably would.
I mean, the thing about Master Chief though is that he's like genetically enhanced and like 8 feet tall,
and also has like the most powerful AI, Cortana.
Yeah,
Well, if you saw
on all of it right now on Windows PCs.
Yeah, well, if you played the end of the last Doom, you would know that size doesn't matter.
Yeah, dude. Yo, that last fight is crazy, man. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I want to see Master Chief fight something. But then again, Master Chief blew up a Halo, so I don't know. Master Chief blew up several Halos. I'm gonna go with Doom Guy just because he has like hell powers and shit.
He's got hell powers.
Can't beat that, you know. That he'll short circuit Master Chief's armor and shit, you know. So that's my answer.
Metal on his side.
Yeah, exactly. Heavy metal.
Heavy metal. I don't know. They're two drastically different, overpowered dudes on fancy armor looking things.
The thing is, like, Master Chief has been like stopped and nearly killed by the Covenant. I mean, Doom Guy just is unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, all of hell can't stop him, you know. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
Doom Guy would be just as dangerous without the armor. You know?
yeah, I mean, you start the 2016 game naked.
Yeah, and you're fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Master Chief, you take that armor off, he is not going to be good in a battle. Doom Guy, he could be, ass naked, killing every fucking demon in sight with his bare hands, you know?
Yo, that Doom Guy got shot up into like a freaking corridor, like on the other side of a fucking space. I don't know.
Yeah, like this guy takes, like he put himself on a fucking rail gun and shit, gets shot into bars, crashes through it. He's still alive, you know?
You know what? Doom Guy. It's
Doom Guy. It's Doom Guy.
Definitely Doom Guy. Yep.
Yeah, like, shoot. Think about it. Like, you shoot Master Chief into a planet, he's dead, you know?
That's it. Yeah.
Doom Guy, he literally cracks Mars in half and he laughs, you know? So, yeah, Doom Guy for, you know, that's it. Oh, man. All right, next question, also from Mr. Drunken Demon. What will be announced first, Vita 2 or PSVR 2? PSVR 2 by default, bro.
Yeah, but yeah.
Vita 2 ain't happening.
No.
PSVR 2 is probably going to happen just because of the success of the PSVR. Surprising success, by the way, you know?
Even Sony was surprised about it.
Yeah, Sony was like, what the fuck? Shit.
You know who wasn't surprised?
You weren't.
Oh.
Hey, listen, man, you got to boast. You got to boast, bro. We encourage boasting in this show, man.
Our VR Trooper.
Yes.
VR Trooper.
Oh, man. All right, yeah, it's the easy one. Moving on to Berserker Guts, yet another new name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, his question is, do you think AAA RPGs will ever go back to being turn-based? Personally, I was very discouraged when I saw the combat during the Final Fantasy XVI announcement. Big AAA ones marketed towards Americans? No, sir. That's done, you know. Here's the funny thing about Japanese. Here's the thing, you know. You guys may, you know, I'm not talking about the panel, I'm talking about in general, right? People say, oh, Persona's not a AAA game because it doesn't look like fucking Skyrim. No, it is a AAA game compared to by Japanese standards, right? But yeah, compared to American standards, it isn't. So yeah, no, you're never going to see that again. Never going to see that again.
Because it has such a wide appeal.
Yeah.
Turn-based games, you know, as much as we enjoy them, they're the mainstream. You know, what were the complaints years ago about Final Fantasy VII when it came out? What's this bullshit where you're not controlling the characters?
Yeah, and that was fucking 20 years ago.
That's 20 years ago. More than that.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, people saying that shit. What's up?
And maybe I'm just blanking, but can you guys name me a AAA Western turn-based RPG?
Was it Fallout?
No,
That's not
no. Oh wow!
The VATS is turn.
VATS it makes it turn based, but you could also play it.
You could do it live. Yeah, you can switch it off. Yeah.
Damn, that's a good question. Like, what? Help us out in the chat, please.
A turn-based Western, Western
RPG that's turn-based.
AAA.
AAA. What?
You got me, Carlos.
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I can't. I don't. There has to. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They gotta have nothing.
It's interesting because a lot of those turn-based systems, that's all based off of Dungeons and Dragons. And
Knights of the Republic was turn-based, right? Or was it real time, Brett? You can help me out with this one. Real time is real time. All right. Yeah. By the way, the chat's lost too. Like,
yeah.
Okay. The only thing I can think of is Divinity Original Sin. That is turn-based.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that counts as AAA.
Yeah, it's not AAA. No. Because no, it's not. They're an independent studio. Larian, I believe the name of the studio is. They're independent. Great studio. Not knocking them. They're also coming out with Baldur's Gate 3. I was gonna say Baldur's Gate, but you know Baldur's Gate 3. But you could play it real time though.
But see, that's always been. I was about to say you can play Baldur's Gate, and That's like a legendary studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't turn it to turn-based a lot.
No. Yeah, the Western RPGs don't really mess with turn-based like that.
No.
The last time I could think of anything like that was Ultima.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go back.
Yeah, go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not thinking anything modern. Like
I think
is Wasteland the new one? Is it turn?
Yes, actually, it is.
It is.
Is that AAA?
Yeah, it's owned by Microsoft now.
Oh,
That's
the best I could think of is Wasteland 3.
Let's Let's just go Wasteland 3. I played I previewed it. I wouldn't consider that AAA, but then again, I have a bias towards those type of games. So I'm just being honest, those type of games.
Yeah, you don't think those look like AAA? The same people don't look at turn-based and say that doesn't feel like AAA.
Yeah, exactly.
Like essentially the comment about you said about Persona.
Yeah, exactly. But the difference is I could admit it. Because think about this: we had Final Fantasy 16, right, and they poured $200 million right into that shit, but it's turn-based. People are like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah, the Final Fantasy games are never going back to turn-based ever again.
No, never. Not the main ones.
They're gonna make a side game called something else in order to hit that market.
Yeah, because
they could put out a turn-based VR game.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. They could.
That would get rid of the VR sickness and everything like that. So you could just select things. Look, the reason they were turn-based was so that they could have cram more visuals in them.
That's not true. That's not true. By the way, there were actually plenty of action RPGs in the early '80s and stuff. But when Dragon Quest hit, they all went turn-based. All of them. I'm talking about games like Hide Light and shit. East. All those were action RPGs.
No.
Chancleta. Yeah.
The Final Fantasies were known for being fucking gorgeous. There were no games that were prettier than Final Fantasy.
No, that was the shit. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I'm convinced that is because they didn't have to worry about where you're gonna go. They didn't have to program any of the shit in the battle except for these beautiful cinematics, which gave them more room to make prettier cinematics. So they just pushed everything to their limit, making everything as pretty as fucking possible. But you gave up some freedom in exchange for it. That's what I noticed. And as time went on, you hit that ceiling where you can't make things any visually prettier. There's no reason to make that trade-off anymore.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Barry says the South Park count. I've never played the South
Park.
Park.
The South Park games, those are turn-based.
No, and they are AAA. Because Ubisoft.
And you know what? It's funny because
let's go with that.
Trey and Matt Parker actually said it was a controversial statement that they told them they wanted the South Park game to be turn-based.
Yeah, Barry, get rid of this jerk off in here.
I just asked the question. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad Adam got it. By the way, I have a bone to pick with Tony.
Uh-oh.
What you boning?
I gotta blow my nose. What's up?
So, I forgot what I meant. Divinity, you said it couldn't be AAA because it's independent.
I didn't. I said it isn't AAA because it's independent. I didn't say it couldn't because think about it like this, right? CD Projekt Red, those motherfuckers independent. They have AAA money, What you said?
Maybe I misunderstood you.
No, I just said Larian isn't a AAA because they're independent, but I don't know how much money they make. If they make CD Projekt Red money, then I'm boosting up to AAA,
Because those Divinity games, Divinity Original Sin 2 is that looks AAA to me.
Yeah.
That's like Diablo level, type of game.
Yeah, and I played Baldur's Gate 3, did a preview. I'm like, that shit looks AAA as fuck. They got voice acting and everything, I don't know. That's a good question. You know what? Let's give it to the Baldur's Gate games and Larian just for the hell of it because we need something. Gotta have something.
By the way, I disagree that Divinity. Brian, did you say Divinity Original Sin was turn based?
Yep, both of them are.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, they're awesome. Have you not played them?
Well, I'm not saying that they're not awesome. I like those games, but I'm saying they're to me they're not turn based.
because
Uh-oh.
they've got an
Okay.
AP system.
So then, how do you count turn-based? Because like you literally take turns to move and do your actions.
In Divinity, I didn't have to take turns. I could just go up to an enemy and throw ice on them, do a spell. I didn't have to wait for anything.
What are you talking about?
What game are you? Yeah, what game
Yeah,
is
what
this?
game are you
Divinity,
talking about?
Divinity Original Sin 2.
No, you can't do that. Unless
You
you're the only
can
one
do
that
it
has
to
a
like
secret.
start the battle, but once you get in like the battle system, then it's turn-based because it's usually like you and like 7 other guys on the field.
Or maybe because I always played by myself. I don't know.
No, but even then, like you have like a team of like 3 other people that join you maximum, and then you'll like roam around and fight the dudes that you come across.
I don't remember that. Did I play the right game? I had it
Maybe
on
you play
Steam.
something else, bro.
Yeah, maybe
I
you're
think- I
playing
think you have another
Divinity.
game.
You're not playing Divinity.
That's the good news is now you can still play Divinity.
No, I'm pretty sure I played Divinity. You start off on like a ship and stuff, and it's like burning and stuff. The original
Yeah. No, that game is totally turn-based. Morgan and I played the shit out of that for like 8 months recently.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. You played more than I did, so what the hell do I know?
Maybe you just play the action part. I don't know.
I want to find that mode. I want to replay that shit if that's in there. But I still like. I love it turn-based, and that's why I'm really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. And yeah,
So,
Tony, one thing
yeah.
I want to say, I take a little offense to. You don't consider that to be first party, but you consider or AAA, but you consider Persona to be AAA.
No, it's no, I said it's AAA. Listen to what I said, bro. I said it's AAA by Japanese standards and not by American standards.
Oh, okay, I missed that part.
Yeah. Not by American standards. That is not AAA. You know, but the Japanese it is because they have smaller budgets over there. You know.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2 is for me definitely AAA. That game has so much fucking content.
That's a whole other conversation right there. I'm like, does content make it AAA?
Well, like content, it has like it looks great. You know, it just feels like it for me at least.
Yeah.
Content, it's fully polished. It's fully voice acted. Like it's if the only thing that you can say that makes it not AAA is that it's an isometric camera view.
Yeah, I think that's what's tripping me up. I'm like, it looks like some kind of cheapy little overhead game, you know?
Yeah,
So, then by those standards, Diablo.
What about that Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah, no, and Diablo is AAA as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, I'm going to guess those games making money. So I'm pretty sure we're upgrading them to the AAA status. So there you go. Divinity Original Sin, Larian, man.
Original Sin.
All right, man.
Play them both. They're amazing.
I'll play Baldur's Gate, man. All right.
Are you gonna play in a group with us?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna. Oh, shoot! I may be reviewing the PC version. We'll see what happens with that.
I think it's only coming out on PC. If so, we need to fucking record that shit because it's basically D&D, and I've done D&D with Tony. And it's weird. It gets weird.
Yeah, it is crazy D&D. All right, man. Moving on.
Can I just ask Carl like a really quick question?
Yes.
How much of the game did you play?
Oh.
Probably like an hour or so.
Curious.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't count.
Okay. It says here 0.7 hours.
Well, I said like an hour. I didn't.
Yeah.
I rounded up.
Yep. That's fine. Hence why I said okay. That makes sense. It's about an hour. Okay. No, I just wanted to know. That's all.
He played it before it got turn-based.
Yeah.
Before the patch.
You know. All right.
Yo, Brian, thanks for inviting me, man. I didn't have anybody to play with. That's why I stopped playing. It's like I felt all lonely and shit.
Yo, bro, if you ever want somebody to play a video game, I prefer online. I would prefer a mediocre online game to a pretty good first-person game you know what I mean, offline game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know. Cool.
I'm the opposite. I prefer a mediocre offline game to a great online one. All right, man.
I haven't found a true online game that really just has struck my fancy, and that's just the truth. I can't.
You should check out a game called Divinity Original Sin.
Hey, Brett. All right, that was not. By the way,
mindlessly be farming, mindlessly be farming the same monsters all the time so that I can get some new loot.
by the way, we're not gonna go down a rabbit hole because we still got a lot of
We'll
questions.
talk later.
Yeah, talk later. We still got a lot of questions, man. All right, mob hits. All right, with PS5 and Xbox Series X right around the corner, will we see PS3 and 360 games increase in value? No. This is they are not like Nintendo cartridges, bro. It ain't like that, you know.
What happened?
Did I cut out?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
They are not like what? That's where you stopped.
Okay. Well, the recording. I said they are not like Nintendo cartridges. You know, it's not like that.
No.
Those games depreciate in value. You know.
I actually have like a slightly different idea, and this is based on the backwards compatibility.
Oh, yeah.
You know when Xbox One said that, hey, we're now backwards compatible with like all these games, then suddenly like all those games like shot up in sales. So I think it may go up, but only for Xbox games.
Maybe
because the old ones do play on the new ones.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But don't you think that's just a temporary thing? You know, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I would think that they would undercut that with the digital sales. Like, if you could get it through the same game through xCloud, or they offer it on the Xbox Store for a cheaper price, then how do you sustain the physical disc having a higher price? Like, you don't have an option really, except if you sail the high seas to get a classic retro game, right? Like an NES or Super NES game. So to get an authentic one, right, you have to go buy it from someone, and then the market dictates like the value, the rarity, and all that stuff. With the 360 game, like I don't know, you could name anything. Like, is it hold value? I have Vanquish on the 360. It's worthless now. They re-released it on PlayStation and Xbox. So what value does my original copy have?
I think there will be maybe situations where they go full digital, and the last copy, physical copies. Like, I'm thinking of like Scott Pilgrim. People are selling PlayStations with Scott Pilgrim still on it for heavily increased markups. Like, when it no longer becomes available is when it becomes a collector's item.
Yeah. And it's back now.
Scott Pilgrim's back, baby.
Yeah, and it's like you'd have to have like an absolute obscure rarity like PT, like where that is completely unavailable and whatever for that to hold any value. But physical game, I have a library of 360 games, I have a library of PS3 games. I have a lot of them digital. If Sony's just like, hey, you just get PS Now, we got all that shit on there, or they start selling them in the store, like, hey, we'll just make compatible versions, here they are digitally, whatever. I don't see how that disc now holds any intrinsic value, maybe to a collector it does, maybe you could sell it, but I don't see how, like, in the market would, like, oh, it's worth $100-$200. I mean, like, you go to we have a show, I might go next month to Classic Game Fest. I mean, I saw a guy slap $1,000 on the table to get Earthbound, and some guy had it in a box.
Oh, man,
you'll never get that for any the 360 or the PS3 game. No way.
The only caveat I would say part of this would only be those really rare collector's editions, I would say.
Yeah, those are the only ones.
Well, yeah, if it came with like a statue or something, right?
Yeah, if it was like the statue, but even some of those, like, you can still buy. Some of those have sort of not. You can get them sort of cheap now too.
Right, I could see the add-on having value, right? Like the statue, or the toy, or the printed map, or the comic, or whatever that came with it. That has the value. The game itself, if I just care about that and then buy it digitally, what do I care?
Yep. All right, man. Let's move on. Next question. Also from Upper Room AK. Do you guys think EA will ever bring back Fight Night now that they have UFC? You can argue that MMA is more popular than boxing. Adam, why don't you answer this one?
Well, that was a conversation for a long time, and they said no, they just weren't selling. That was the issue of Fight Night. They're fun as hell, but the market just wasn't there for it. So they were like, all right, well, you guys are going to start doing the UFC games, because it was that team. And then they incorporated a mode. There's a knockout mode with those UFC games. So if you just want to box, you can do that and knock people out. Do that. It's not the same thing because you can still do other things, but it's pretty much it. So no, I don't think we're ever going to see them. We should see some. What was the Ready to Rumble? Why can't we get those type of games back?
Well, that's Capcom right there, you know.
No, I know, but bring those type of games. Those
no, that was Midway. Dude.
Oh, that was Midway Ready to Rumble. Okay, yeah.
That was the guy with the fro and stuff.
That's Warner Brothers games now.
I was gonna say, who the fuck owns it now? Okay, so there you go.
If we can see more of those types, but when it comes to boxing and with everything going on in boxing, it just people don't follow it like they used to. Once MMA came along, it pretty much squashed that whole interest. So yeah, you got Toro Thundergod and you had all these other great fighters back in the day, but a lot of those, in fact, they started incorporating into the UFC game when they added Tyson and they added some other. Well, now we have what's his name, Fury and Anthony. There's two DLC special characters that they're adding for the UFC game that came out, and they were both boxers, even MMA fighters. But that just proves it that they're just going in that direction. They decided, you know what, forget it. We're not gonna go down this road, and I don't see them ever re-releasing because then they have to pay for all those naming rights. So it's just one of those things. But they were fun. I enjoyed it, you know, especially if you're big into boxing. I used to follow boxing back in the day, so it was fun. But yeah, MMA just killed it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just deferred that to you because you're the expert with that shit. All right. Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on here. Mr. John R. Christ, who's been with us the entire night. John, just for the future, do me a favor. Keep the questions a little bit shorter because remember, I got to read all this shit. It's a lot, you know. Just, you know, compact it a little bit. That's all I'm asking. But I will read everything tonight. All right. Platform exclusives aren't a new concept. Love them or hate them. Platform exclusives drive platform adoption. For multiple generations, Sony has led the charge with the industry's top exclusives, an undeniable fact. Knowing that sales often lag value by a fixed period of time, usually a console generation, at what point do you feel we'll see the pendulum swing away from the brazen hate and disgust we've often seen come from the vocal parts of Team Blue right now and more towards positivity for the Xbox platform? Why do you believe Team Blue, he's talking about PlayStation, is so opposed to these moves considering the number of years and generations they've been vocal advocates for their lineup of platform exclusives? So he's talking about how now, you know, PlayStation guys are mad, you know, over the whole Bethesda Microsoft thing, you know, after, you know, these guys being on top forever. Here's the thing. I always say exclusives are anti-consumer if they're not on the console that you own. It's the same thing. Like the Xbox guys who've been screaming at Sony, you know, and Sony fans are going, "Oh, you guys are anti-consumer this." Now they're praising this shit, right? And then the Sony guys were saying exclusives are great. Now they're mad at this. So yeah, the pendulum's you're never going to get hardcore PlayStation guys to just suddenly love Xbox. The hate is just in there. It's in their blood. It's in their veins. It ain't going nowhere, you know.
Which is
stupid.
Silly.
It's stupid, but that's just the way it is, you know. But again, I just find the whole that's what the pendulum swings. You know, it's like these fanboys get mad, but they're both getting mad at the same shit. You know, because again, going back right when Spider-Man was announced as a PlayStation exclusive, right? Spider-Man 2018, right? Xbox guys were saying Sony's being anti-consumer. That game belongs in every system, and the PlayStation guys were laughing. Right now, it's the other way around. Right? Bethesda being on Microsoft is anti-consumer, and the Xbox guys are laughing. So it's like both sides are full of shit, you know.
There's gonna be some Xbox guys that get pissed off when they see some of these games do go multi-plat. You know, whichever one, doesn't matter what it could be. Little rinky-dink fucking game, and they'll still get pissed. Why are they doing that? That should be all ours.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You know, and then let's go to more recent history now, right? Spider-Man being an exclusive character in Avengers, right? Xbox guys were fucking livid over a game they didn't give a shit about just a day before, and a game that's dropped off the face of the earth, right? But they were livid as fuck. So yeah, it's never gonna change, man. Console war never changes, you know. To quote Mr. Ron Perlman, you know.
Console wars never change.
So yeah, no pendulum swing. It's always gonna remain the same, man. Always going to remain the same as long as consoles are around. That's just the way it is, brother. You know?
That's just the way it is.
All right, give me a sec here. Set up the next question. This one, John, because John loves his streaming stuff, man. Very interesting. Because most gamers that I know are like, fuck that streaming shit, you know? All right. So the next question is, myself on camera here. Right. With Amazon Luna being announced, we are now seeing a cloud gaming landscape focusing on being a straight console in the cloud. In the case of Stadia, a Prime Video / Netflix of cloud gaming in Amazon Luna, and a value add to a hardware platform in the case of xCloud. While curiosity in the potential of cloud gaming is rising, including the acknowledgement that the need to purchase several $100s in hardware being invalidated and unnecessary, it can also be observed that the gaming spheres have largely opposed the console in the cloud concept in favor of the Netflix for games, while equally opposing the Netflix for gamers model in favor of a console in the cloud. It appears the only gaming cloud model that hasn't been scrutinized heavily is the value add model presented by xCloud, which has landed without so much as a whisper in either direction. What do you feel the current cloud gaming models are lacking that would help drive adoption? What do you believe cloud gaming is lacking that would drive a more positive discourse? Quick thing before we answer that, John, and this is, I'm speaking as an editor right here, right? All that stuff, the 3/4, you could all erase that. Just get to the heart of it, you know? So yeah, what do we think is the future for cloud gaming? What can make cloud gaming more enticing to people, you know?
I think that what they're already sort of doing is that it, especially with the way was it Google Stadia and Amazon's, is where it's like, hey, you already have this. All you need to do is just get this thing, and then you can get it. But the problem with it is that there's no and this is the thing I've always said. We always said, even with these new consoles, they need to have something in there to get people in the door. There needs to be what do you have on the outside of your store to attract people to come in and buy some shit? And so far, even for this thing, there's nothing for it, even though they do have companies making video games for them.
Yeah, Luna you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, for years, the guys who made the original guys who made Killer Instinct were working on something.
Yeah. The thing with cloud gaming is it's still too new. You know, gamers are very adverse to change, you know, so they're not really going to accept it readily, you know, even though you have a service like xCloud, which is actually really fucking cool. You know, you're playing your Xbox game at home, some shit happens, you got to go across the town, keep playing your game on the bus, you know.
But to be honest, they're not going for gamers. They're not looking at
gamers. Not traditional guys.
What Amazon and Google are looking for is the general audience. We're talking about we're talking about people who own cell phones and things.
Yeah, that's right. Just like we talked about before. Yep.
Yeah, people who are already into an ecosystem of buying stuff through their services. So it's like, hey, you know that Google thing? Hey, it also has games. You can get some games on there, and it's really cool ones. You can play fucking Call of Duty on there or something.
Yeah, cloud gaming is a harder sell to dedicated, gamers like us. That's a harder sell. We kind of don't have a need for it in most cases. There's exceptions, obviously, but like, for example, I have like a bunch of these already, right? Like GeForce. I'm going to use GeForce now, even though I think it's a great service, right? What need do I have for it? Like at home? Like, okay, because Google Force Now, whatever the fuck it's called, what does it do? It accesses your library of Steam games. Okay, why not just fire up my Steam game then instead of streaming it? I can just play it locally, So for guys like me,
if your PC can't support it, or if you're on a location that just can't support it, I think
that's what it is. Yeah.
There were some games that when I was reviewing a certain PC game and my PC was chugging on this thing, I said, you know what? Let me see if I can do it on the GeForce Now. And I booted that up, and sure enough, that was one of the supported games. This is before all these shits started getting pulled.
Yeah.
It was fine, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm playing this at full speed. It was awesome. So for those situations, if your PC
for sure
can't handle it, but if you do have the bandwidth, then you're good to go.
Yeah, but it's gonna take a while for the guys like us, the hardcore guys, to really accept this shit. And we may not accept this. I think, like Manny said, not only is it for the non-gamers, but also the new guys that are coming in, the young kids and shit. You know?
Yeah, you don't know officially to those kids who play Fortnite on their phone. They don't know the difference between latency and all that. They just know that they can play fucking Fortnite.
That's it. Yeah. So it's not really that the that it's lacking, even though some are lacking games. Let's just be honest, some are lacking. It's really more of like guys are used to these things, and that's what they're sticking with. You know. But the new generation coming in, they'll be more readily accepting to it. Again, think about it, you're a kid, right? Or not even a kid. Yeah, I know, like a teenager, right? You could be like, okay, I could buy these games individually for $60, Google Stadia, or just subscribe for $15 a month and get everything. You're gonna do that, you know? That's a lot of money you're saving.
As the years go on, it gets easier and easier to sell to essentially take away certain abilities.
Yeah,
you know, because nobody officially remembers how it was.
Yeah, and it's convenient. You know,
and it's convenient. Yeah, well, like
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, yes.
What was that, Brett?
No, he said Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, that's us. We're Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah, we're Pepperidge Farm. You know,
we're Pepperidge Farm. We still remember how it used to be, but there's going to be a point where there's people like that don't even remember an age where they actually didn't play a game that doesn't have any latency.
Yeah.
And we'll be the ones complaining.
Yeah, we'll be the
ones
ones
left behind.
Yeah.
Like if we don't get xCloud, hey, you ain't playing Halo 7 or whatever. It's like, shit, I want a disc. No, there ain't no disc.
I mean, maybe when was the last time anybody's bought a box set of a TV show they like?
I still buy them.
Manny, you're an outlier. Though. Let's just be honest.
I'm an outlier. I know that. I mean,
I did also. I bought 66 Batman, the whole series. Yeah, yep. I love it.
Oh, Rocky Blu-ray. I got the whole set of
That's not airing anymore. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about like. I hate this show, so I hate to use that example. But is anybody go out and gonna buy season 5 of Friends? No.
No, I don't even watch that shit.
Who the fuck in here even watched Friends?
No, he's talking about in general.
I don't know a better example of one like.
Yo, man, I'll buy
Game of Thrones.
No, fuck that.
Game of Thrones, Brett.
Yeah, okay. Are you gonna go out and buy all the seasons of Game of Thrones? How's that?
No, I'm gonna buy everything apart from season 8.
Yeah. Like
he set you up for that one, by the way, Brett.
By the way,
I don't care.
Yeah,
I would counter with you just need to cut the last episode or two out. Just end with Arya. That's perfectly satisfying to me.
All right, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But no, you're right. Like I bought the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray. Then I was like, why am I doing this shit? You know?
I found it funny that with those, they kept doing those box sets after every season. I was like, but it's not over. We know there's more seasons. Why are you doing a box set?
Yeah. What's the box set for that season, you know?
No, it would be like, with season 1 through 3.
Oh, yeah. Because they know motherfuckers will buy it. That's why.
I was like, shit, it's not over. Wait till the whole shit is told.
You know some people are, bro. They're impatient, man. They want the shit now. All right, man. Let's move on here. The last 2 questions of the night, both from Mr. GZDR, who's been joining us in the chat as well.
Oh, yeah.
This one's an interesting question. Why are console fanboys called names and blocked by Twitter influencers, but fanboys of car manufacturers, team sports, political parties are praised?
Praises?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
What's the question again?
Okay. Why?
Okay, basically, I think it's why are video game fans fanboys while football fans are fans?
That's good. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I got an answer. But man, go ahead.
Oh, it has to do with the fact that because video games are thought of as childish.
That's one. Also, look at the behavior of gamers. You see some of this shit, you feel fucking ashamed, to be a gamer. So the way these motherfuckers act, so they're not really helping our cause here, Then again, some of these political people are fucking vile too. They're even worse, But yeah, gamers don't help. We don't help our cause.
Well, I think there's also a difference between like a fan and a fanboy in the sense that like you're exactly right. If you're acting petulant and childish, you're going to be a fanboy. You're going to have no. Fanboy basically means you don't have a platform to stand on. You don't have a reason to be this much of a fan. I kind of think, and you're being kind of petulant and insistent. It implies that your argument is inherently wrong. Whereas a fan just implies that, there's some sort of justification for liking them. I think the equivalent is in football would be a super fan. If you call somebody a
They
super
call fanatics.
yeah. So
Well,
it's just a terminology, but yeah, no, people use fanboy more because it's derogatory, and they use it when aimed at each other, and when other people use it, like journalists, it's derogatory and kind of dismissive. It's a weird thing. So like you can call it you can call I could call Tony a fanboy in jest and in fun. I can call somebody on Twitter on fanboy, yelling at them, and then a news journal could pick up our argument and call both of us fanboys for being immature. That's my opinion.
And that immaturity also applies to sports, because you always hear about like a certain fan getting beat up or some shit, and they're like, "Oh, why? Well, he wore a Red Sox hat at a Yankees game. He was visiting somebody. He wore baseball, merch. He was just trying to be part of it. Why'd you beat his ass up? Oh, well, it's my team. It's like, fuck, it's not even your team. You just did stupid shit. But that's just how people get all fanatical about something. Like, yeah, this is what I want to be.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for this because I don't really deal with those type of people outside of games. But gamers, yeah, they get pretty stupid, All right, and the last question of the night, just to, I'm forgetting the term, but piggyback or go back to bookend things where we started about Bethesda people. All right, to counter Microsoft's ZeniMax Bethesda Studios purchase, which one of these three publishers should Sony buy? THQ Nordic, Devolver Digital, or Roblox? They could buy all these motherfuckers, and none of them will count as much as Bethesda, bro.
Yeah, you'd be about 30% of the way there. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. The biggest one of these is probably the Roblox. That makes a lot of money. You guys don't know about that. Roblox makes stupid money, but even that is nowhere near Bethesda. So that
these and quality games.
Yeah. So we answered this before. There's nothing Sony could buy that could be on that level. They can't afford it.
Yo, I mean, Sony, if you want to buy Platinum Games,
But that's not on that level. That's not on that level.
No, it's definitely not going to be at that level. But if you want to get them,
what happened, Brett?
I'm curious, just to put this in numbers. Is there any way to find out how many total copies of Skyrim have sold across all platforms?
That's a good question. We could answer that offline, though. I don't know, but yeah, no. Sony cannot. Again, the only things they could possibly buy, they would have to buy an EA. They would have to buy Ubisoft, and that ain't happening.
Yeah, they literally. Bethesda is like one of those sort of mega gaming companies. That's like them. That's like
they have their own conference at E3 every year. Like, what does that tell you?
That's because they're Bethesda or ZeniMax is one of those things. Probably the most. Maybe the same level of that would probably even be Rockstar.
Rockstar, I think Rockstar may actually be more than that.
Rockstar, not only, excuse me, whoever owns Rockstar, what's that name of that company? Take-Two.
Take-Two.
Picked up those guys.
That would be huge. Yeah, that would be huge.
What does Take-Two come with? What does Rockstar come with?
Exactly. Take-Two would be insane, but Sony can't afford Take-Two.
No, they couldn't afford them.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Carlos.
Brett, to answer your question, goddamn, it's not gonna sound as good. Fuck.
Just say it.
To answer your question about Skyrim and the sales, I don't know where to get those numbers, but I do know that when Skyrim came out on the Switch, it was in top 10 NPDs.
Oh man,
that's okay. You can put out the time I was wrong versus all the times I was right.
Oh,
what happened? I didn't. My bad. I didn't hear.
He said that it's okay because he's been right up more times. Something like that.
About Skyrim?
No, about everything.
About the Switch. I said you can revel in your victory.
He's holding that over your head, Carlos.
Yo, man, the Switch. That's a good thing, man. But I'm right about a lot of stuff. I always post it on the Twitter too. I put the Miss Cleo. I put the Miss Cleo GIF every time.
Hey man.
Oh yes.
Yeah. No. Yo. By the way, By the way, Carlos, I want you to, because you're the best at this. try to find all the instances of us being correct about PlayStation 3 up 5 because we were correct as a motherfucker about everything almost, the price, the release date, all that shit.
God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah,
I guess
telling
who
you, man.
predicted that?
Being bought.
Yo, man, who predicted Jeff Keighley was gonna be in it with Sony?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know how Skyrim sales numbers. I don't know, bro.
Who predicted Colin Moriarty was gonna do politics after he
Yeah,
looked kind of funny?
that's right. Look at Carlos over here, man. Oh man. All right, man. That's gonna do it for us. So, does anybody need to pimp anything?
I mean, I have the usual things. Go pick up Excellence. Go pick up It's a Bird on Free and Comixology. And we got other kind of cool stuff coming. Still got lots of projects going on. So Throwdown Draws is on a temporary hiatus. But me and Tony have a little unboxing for you that's coming up next week. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Unboxing the next gen consoles.
Yeah. And don't get thrown off by the video of your boy because I don't have all that face fuzz now. They'll be like, Tony, how'd you grow a beard in a night, bruh? Fuck. Because we're gonna put that up on Friday. Adam, do you have anything, man? Coalition.
Well, we got a surprise. Well, that I'll talk about on Thursday. A new show.
Uh-oh.
And myself and Carlos and Richard, Bill Jr. and Dana Abercrombie. So.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. So that'll be we're finalizing everything and getting it ready, and then we will announce it on Thursday.
Nice, good shit. All right, so we're officially gonna announce it on Thursday.
Yes,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Got the trap, yo.
All right, yo. So that's it. Oh, damn, who's getting killed? It's behind me and shit. All right. Anyway, man. So thank you for that's the whole shit. I'm going off the old.
We're done. Shit.
Yeah, we're done, bruh. Fuck. Chris is like, yo, I don't want to go to bed yet, man. Yeah, Chris, we're done, bro.
No, I had to. My daughter was crying, so I had to step.
Oh shit! I didn't realize you were gone. Fuck. My bad, bro. Yeah, we're done, man. Anyway, let me do the outro and get the fuck out of here. Follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and join our Discord. Follow us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show and visit throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, people.
Brett Murdoch. Ahoy, hoy.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
I can't believe that so many people are not going to buy the Hogwarts game because of She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Oh.
Don't buy her new book either. Apparently, don't buy her new book. Yo, man, we'll see you on Thursday, man. Hip Hop Gamer and Torrance Davis are going to be on. Get ready for that. It's going to be a war zone. Yes, that icon you see right there, that little head right there, that's not Bowser. The other guy, that's Torrance. You guys are going to see him.
Mr. Davis, man.
Oh boy! Remember, Hip Hop Gamer has an announcement on Wednesday related to the remastering engine. So on Thursday, we're going to ask him about it. Ooh, this is going to be good.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, all right. And Torrance, who you already know, man. You already know. Anyway, stay tuned for that. Peace out.
Peace.
Later.
Laters.